What's up? It's Jose Shorty Torres, and are you guys looking for love advice, or even want to hear some really, really bad stories of what happened trying to get love? Guys, check out my guy Blake's podcast, the Unfiltered Bachelor Podcast. I think it's hilarious because you hear funny stories, bad stories, things working out well, things just going and all that stuff. Guys, check it out, and maybe you'll find some love in the process. Thank you so much, guys.
I've been searching for you here for so long. I've been searching for you here for so long.
And what is happening, everybody? It is your boy Blake, Money Blake Weather. Thank you for joining us on another episode. What is today? March 29th? Holy shit. Almost the end of the month. In the Corona Apocalypse 2020. How's everybody doing out there? I am here on another episode with my buddy, your favorite. He was just on the episode not too long ago. We had to bring him back. What are we doing? I don't know. My boy, your favorite, Tyler. Gucci.
What's up, y'all?
Chillin' like a villain, but not the villain spread in Corona, man.
No, shit has changed since we talked last. Like, I mean, we've gone through a paradigm shift.
Mm-hmm. What do you? Oh yeah, from the last time you were on to like now.
Last time, it was like
3 weeks ago.
It was like sunshine, roses. Like life was good, and then
rainbows and sunshine.
Dude, it was a different time.
Was it 2 weeks? Was it 3? Was it 3 weeks ago?
It was pre this shit.
It was pre-Rona.
Pre-Rona.
Yeah, like, bro, did we bring the Rona apocalypse upon these people?
Yeah, it was us. We're one podcast.
Shout out,
shit goes to hell.
Shout outs to us, man. You know what? This is a weird time for I got that notification. Are you on Bumble?
No. I think that's like the one dating app I'm not on.
Check this out, man. I got this notification from Bumble, and it was like, check this out. It was like a few. I'll tell you when it was because it tells me the date.
They're like, stay to FaceTime.
Yes.
Stay to FaceTime interactions.
So this was March 20th.
You lonely, horny
son of a
fuck.
bitch. Yeah, just jerk off at home. Beat off on your fucking video chat, you creep. Hi, Blake. We want to help keep you safe, Golden Heart. We encourage you to please take your dates virtual. Use our video chat and voice call features in the app to connect from home! ! Please don't meet Bumble matches IRL for now. Whitney Wolf Hurd, Bumble founder and CEO.
And folks, I want to know what percentage of folks right now are meeting a person on Tinder, on Hinge, on Bumble, and like actually meeting in real life.
There's some people that are getting their best hookup life on. I had a friend of mine. I was talking to a friend of mine. She's like, dude, my friend met this dude on Tinder the other night, and she already like went to his house. And I'm like, bro, it's because of the Rona, dude, bro. Like you inside, you're
the game has changed,
bro. You inside, like this is the time where if you're an introvert and you're like scared to meet people, this is your time to shine. If you're just wanting to hook up, this is your time to shine. When it's not your time to shine, like who the people this is most affecting are people that are really good in like meetups, and they're really good with conversations in real life. And they're like, I don't really like the dating apps, and you know what I'm saying. But the people that are on there, but are like, I don't really like it, but I like to meet people.
Yeah,
and I love to meet people in real life. And like in real life, they're this whole nother person, and the person they meet's like, oh my god, like you're really awesome. Those are the people that are losing out. Right now, the people that are winning are the, hey, you want to come quarantine and chill folks?
Right.
And then the people that are like, oh, I'm nervous to leave the house. Like they got kind of introvert, but they use their phone to live their best life.
I wish we could get like 1,000 dudes to just like make their first message be quarantine and chill. Like, I think that's the goal for this podcast is like get enough followers to where you can like, put out and be like, this has to be like your opening line. And then it's like, it's almost like a marketing campaign. You're like,
yes,
what
hashtag quarantine and chill.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I wonder out of 1,000 people, like if you sent like quarantine and chill ?
Right.
Like, I want to see what the success rate is on that.
I want to I want to see. I've seen somebody put that on their profile. What I'm about to say, but I want to see if this works. So I've seen somebody's profile where it says, "If Corona doesn't take you out, can I?" And I was like,
I love it.
That's great.
I love it. Give me some dark humor. I'm here for it. If we don't die, want to fuck?
For sure. If we make it past this, hey, you want to grab a quarantini when we're done?
Right. No, I do think that like usage of dating apps has to have spiked. Like I'd love to see the data there. Like I would just love to see how many.
Remember, just 2 weeks ago we were talking about like dating apps and this and that, bro. This is the time to shine if you're a dating app. By the
way, like I've been using dating apps.
He's like, don't get it fucking twisted.
Don't get it twisted. Since our last conversation, like your
dating app game.
My dating app game has skyrocketed due to the fact that like
we're living in the time that we're living in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hey. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a complete and total hypocrite. When life is normal, I'm not going to use dating apps. But when the quarantine happens, like you better believe.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Blake's over there, like, come with me.
We're taking a little journey.
I'm like, all right, Sensei, let's do this shit.
Dearly beloved, love it. We are gathered here today.
Oh yeah, I'm just sitting there.
He's all here for it, man.
Yeah.
I you know what? I think there's a lot of unique stuff that's. I want to know, and I was reading this question online.
I want to know.
Check this. I want to know.
Hit him with some Joe.
Yeah, right. Exactly that. I think this is a great thing. Here's a great topic that I was reading online, and I thought this was really cool. First date ideas during COVID-19. Check this out. This is from Reddit. I really like this girl, and I don't want to get the wrong idea if she just comes over to my place, or she may think I want to hook up with something. Would there be something else we could do that wouldn't be closed? No, everything's closed. This is a question on Reddit. But first date ideas during the COVID. What a lot of people are doing are, from what I hear, are the
from
virtual
what
dates.
He hears.
Stop it. From what I hear, are the virtual dates, right? Everybody connecting through virtually. And like, I think it would be cute. This is just me. If you talk with a girl, maybe for the first time you do like, you have a drink and she has a drink. Second date, order each other food. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. I mean, like, I think it's a solid.
That's cute,
idea.
right? Is that too cute, or is that?
I mean, dude, like, who even knows anymore? Like,
we're living in these times.
Yeah, during these uncertain times. Like, dude, I've never craved like non-sexual human contact, like
more than you have now, right?
Yeah, like
you just want to fucking
like,
high five.
I just want to high five strangers right now. Like, is that too much to fucking ask? Like literally, like I'm on my run today. Some dude was just killing it. Like,
see what some people say though, real quick before I bounce out of this. So you could just both bring your own coffee to go, maybe even from home, and go for a long walk through the city or forest. What fucking forest?
Yeah,
or just anywhere.
Do y'all live in places with forests?
Yeah. Where you live that has a fucking forest.
We have some trees, but I don't think we have a forest.
I don't live in Thailand. There's not a fucking forest,
Is
guy.
this Russia?
Right. What are we doing? If one of you has to travel a bit, the other should maybe provide the coffee. What the fuck does that even mean? A girl that comes over on a first date, that's like a unicorn. And another person says, or just horny. Another person says, one-hit wonders. Wow, that's clever. We call that clever right there. One-hit wonder.
Dude, Reddit. Okay, so we'll stay there for a while. Like, I think those are cool ideas. I think like everyone is getting more creative. Or like would be open to that. Like, I think, if you go through your messages right now and you just wanted to hit somebody up and be like, look, like, how about Friday? Can I get your number Friday? Let's FaceTime. Like, you grab a drink, I'll grab a drink. Like, I mean, you could get real creative. You could like, well, I mean, this would involve her address, but like send her money for like Drizzly or something.
Yeah. What's a Drizzly? What's that? What do you do?
Drizzly is like
you drizzle?
It's an app where you can order alcohol.
Oh, okay,
they'll
yeah.
Deliver it to you.
Little drizzlies.
Yeah, so I mean, you could do something cute like that, or just like
right.
Whatever.
Like Uber Eats some.
but
But
then
now
you-
they're serving alcohol, so you could like order some Mexican takeout and a margarita for your potential date.
No, yeah, I mean, like, I think there's some good ideas, and then like that story we saw earlier with that dude who like straight up like set up a table and shit. And
Dude,
then
okay,
FaceTime,
so
like,
let's talk about this.
Okay, let's
the
go.
cutest idea, the cutest thing I've ever fucking seen.
My man set the standard entirely too high.
This is so fucking great. So
All right, so I'll give the background because I was
and if you guys want to follow this is on Upworthy, the Instagram.
yeah, Upworthy, which is great. It's like super positive content. But
I
like,
love this.
So some of y'all
Explain to the people real quick. I'm gonna
y'all-
make sure the AC's on, but explain to the people.
Some of y'all may have seen this video, and I hate this fucking dude because he set the bar way too high for the rest of us mere mortals. So it's a TikTok video. Guy sees a girl like holding a dance party on a rooftop. He's in his apartment, looks out. He's like, she cute. He goes in, grabs a drone, and like tapes his number to the drone, flies it to her. She texts him. All right. So that was the first video I saw. And then he posted like some updates. So my man like got her number. They've been talking.
First of all, this is so fucking. They're buildings apart. They're one building
yeah,
apart.
I mean, they're
across the street, but like,
yeah,
they're on the rooftops.
So this is like, you know, virtual meets like in real life. You know, they're close, but they're quarantined, blah, blah, blah. So my dude organizes with her roommate, I guess, sets up like a table, gets like wine, FaceTime, like he sets up a little table on his balcony and they have like a virtual date, like quote unquote, kind of like at a restaurant. They ate the same like organic, you know,
They had wine.
They had wine. He like cheers. Like my dude is just out here.
It looks
like,
so fucking cute. I
yeah,
wanted to
dude,
throw
like,
up.
Yeah,
It was
my
so
heart
cute.
died inside, you know? I was like, I'm not supposed to feel shit. Like, what is this, you know? Yeah, it was like a 30-second rom-com. That's essentially what this TikTok video
Oh, it was the cutest fucking
also,
thing
and
ever.
like, I mean, like that is creative.
To
your point.
It's creative. It's how you're meeting people.
Like
nowadays.
mom, dad, like how'd you guys meet? Well,
she was on the fucking
during the great quarantine of 2020.
Oh, 2020. Yeah.
You know,
yes,
we were both
did.
lonely. I was kind of horny. You know,
My dick was hard. I was on the roof. I was on my patio. Your mom was on the roof dancing.
Yeah. So
I sent her this drone. I was like, "Yo, quarantine and chill."
Dad, what's a drone? Like, no, seriously. Like, I mean, the bar has been set. Like,
Right.
folks are out there.
Game
like,
set match.
getting
son.
creative. You know,
Creative has entered the playing realm,
oh,
right?
for sure. You know, because now we're all stuck. It's like if you're not interesting virtually, you know, like what do you have right
There's
now?
a lot of cute ideas I just thought of in my head. There's one like if a cute girl, she lives like a few floors beneath you, and like you have patios, get a little fishing pole and just put your number like on a line, right? Like that's cute.
Yeah, there's all sorts of puns there. Like, drop me a line. Like,
Right, yeah. Just wanted to drop you a
If
line.
you're fishing for compliments, here's my number. I mean, we could get creative
Get
here.
creative right here.
I
yeah.
love how the tables have turned too. Like 3 weeks ago, I was like, "Fuck online dating," and now I'm like, "Man,
You know
how
what?
can
There's
I-
some pretty
how
cool
can I get
things going on
creative right now."
Now you're like, Blake, wait a minute. What are we talking about here?
Hold on, I need data.
Where was those analytics again?
Yeah.
Can you run the numbers by me one more
I'm
time?
gonna call the data analytics department at Tinder. I'm gonna send some dude like a 6-pack of beer and be like, "Hey man, like I need you to give me some insight."
Right.
Like,
What do
you
we
know,
got?
like,
What do we got?
What
here?
are we working with?
What are we
right
talking
here?
about?
Yeah.
What's even going on over there
Oh,
with
man.
you?
No,
There's a lot of cute shit I could imagine.
well,
going
okay,
on.
so I'll double down on that. Like, I think we were talking in the car earlier, like, the shit has changed, you know?
Game
Like-
has changed.
Like, dude, this has been it's essentially a catastrophic event that everyone's dealing with, like,
Yes.
rich, poor, whatever.
Yes.
And, like, it's changed the game for me personally, just in the sense of, like, my day is different. Like, it's very different, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the world changed for a lot of us. And I do think that, like, folks, like, since our routine got upended, like, I think everybody's, like, a little more kind of, like, emotionally open right now. Because, like...
Oh, everybody's fucking way more vulnerable now?
Yeah, I think it's, like, vulnerable, like, emotionally open. Like, you see folks posting shit on social media that, like, maybe a month ago they wouldn't have posted.
Right.
You know, like, whether it's, like...
2 weeks ago they wouldn't have posted.
self-help or, like, you know, this is what I struggled with today. Like, folks are, like... I feel like, you know, for a lot of folks and like me, like you kind of build a social brand.
Oh, my bad. Was
Yeah.
that your foot?
Yeah,
Did
we're
I
just
touch
touching feet
footsie with
here,
you?
guys.
That's nice.
You know, like you build a brand socially, you know, whether it's Instagram or, you know, the podcast.
People know what they know about you based on your social media.
Yeah, and like
people, like for instance, people know I love Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, White Claws, and Lil Dicky because of what I post on my social media.
But now folks are like, I'm lonely. Like today was a rough day in the middle of like their normal like branding.
This and this happened.
Yeah, this sucks. You know, like I just feel like in general, folks are being much more open right now.
Right, facts.
And then like as that translates to like dating, I think people are just like more open to like emotional conversation. Like
Facts,
whereas
facts.
previously it was like, all right, your people talk to my people. Like maybe we go on a date. Maybe this works. Maybe it doesn't. Now folks are like, I'm studying for the LSAT and I don't ever plan on taking the LSAT, you know, but like I just need something to do because I'm losing
Right.
my
I'm
goddamn mind.
learning Portuguese.
Yeah, you know, it's
never
like,
going to use it.
Yeah, you know, like you're having much more. I would say like not intimate, but like maybe more real conversations.
This almost, and this is weird what I'm about to say, but I think it's
I'm
great
here for it.
for the universe entirely. I think we all need time to breathe and take time for ourselves. And this may sound very philosophical, but I hope in the realm of dating and relationships, people are using this time to like figure the fuck out of themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like figure out who the fuck they are, because like if you've been bouncing and you're used to hanging out with your girlfriends and going downtown and yada yada, or if you're bro and you used to have bro time and you're going out out with your boys, you can't do this shit now.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? The fuck are you gonna do?
I think that's what everybody's dealing with. Like your coping mecknism just got like yanked from you. Well,
If-
for those of us that are extroverts, like introverts,
I'm a huge extrovert, but I also have I do a podcast, bro. Like
Yeah.
there's been Saturday nights where I've not gone out because it's like I got shit to do either the next day or I'm editing shit from the night before. Like
Yeah.
I can't just be going out. Like, also I watch fights here by myself sometimes. I love to do that. There's no fights on, so I'm just like, man, I'll just watch TV by myself. Like I know what to figure out. I know what to do on a Saturday that does not involve going out. But for the people that are used to that part of their schedule.
Yeah. Well, even like, I'm kind of the same way, or I was previously, like, Monday through Fridays work, see a lot of people. I'm in sales, so I talk to a lot of people, so I have lots of like interpersonal interaction,
Communications.
throughout my week. And then I also
Yeah.
had a bunch of like, just like, I have a team of 20. We're kind of loud. Like, there was all of that. But then like on Fridays, like Friday beers, Friday
Happy hours,
hour,
bros.
But then on Saturday and Sunday, typically, like I'll stay home, like go to the gym, work out, play video games. Like, that was like my recharge time, typically Saturday, Sunday, where I wouldn't normally like see folks. But then all of a sudden it's like now my Monday through Friday, I'm not seeing people, like I just feel like for a lot of folks, even, you mentioned fights, like coping mechanisms, like whether it's sports, like just being able to like go to a bar and like watch a random game,
Right.
or like being able to watch highlights, like, before you fall asleep at night, you're like, all right, like, did Russell Westbrook get a triple double tonight?
Right.
Like it's like all these little things that we used to have available that we don't now. And I think it's really interesting. But to your point, like I do hope folks are kind of use the time that we've got,
Right.
Like, I went on my run today and felt like I figured a bunch of shit out, like you use that time to, I don't know, be better, like maybe
Be a better person. Be better you. What the fuck? But it's very philosophical, but I'm just going down that rabbit hole of like, I feel like this is great for just the people in general, like the people as a people's.
Yeah, well, I mean,
as a race.
No,
the human race. This is great for all of us.
I like what you said about, the universe. You think of a ton of things. It's just like climate change. There's a lot less people out, like that's a benefit, there are less cars and like pollution
emissions and everything.
All of these things. So like, then there's the human level. Like maybe we're all being more open and like, I FaceTime my grandma the other day, I haven't FaceTimed her in a while. Like, I think like there is kind of a, maybe collectively, like we're all going back to some better habits, that are, like we were talking earlier, like it's just easy to get into your routine. You know, Monday through Friday, I go to work. We have Friday happy hour. Maybe I see somebody on Saturday, you know, wash, rinse, repeat, you know, 2 months go by, not shit's changed. But right now, like, shit changed, you know, and like, hopefully we do, like, hopefully we're a little more healthy after all of this.
That's the hope, right? Hopefully we come out of this better people, not just like, oh, this happened. Anyways, moving on. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully this changes for the better. I don't know, man. I'm just hoping. I'm hoping for that. But I want to talk about something though.
Okay.
Because we're talking about before this podcast, not even about the Rona, but we're talking about music, bro. We're talking about. So we had the song playing that we're talking about "Closer" by Chainsmokers.
Yeah.
And dude, first of all, and why is people are like, what the fuck? Why you just change? Like, we were just listening to music prior to the recording right now. And I have a playlist dedicated. It's a Unfiltered Bachelor playlist. I got a few songs on there. You know, I got a few jammy jams, a few songs I've broken down on the podcast. One of them on there, though, that I always wanted to break down, I'll probably do it one day, though, is the Chainsmokers, Closer, and Paris is on there. But Closer, we were talking about this. And I love the concept of, like, how songs just remind you of things. And that's probably why I do, like, the breakdown series of, like, songs. But I love how we're talking about it, and like there's bits of that remind me of "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, you know, the image of like from that song, "Don't Stop Believing," of you two strangers, you know, lonely night in the fucking hotel room, you know, cheap smell of wine and cheap perfume. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that whole bit, and then you have that line in like. Something that just kind of equated it to me or kind of reminded me of that from a song like Closer was, you know, you're talking about like your roommate or you'd look pretty in a hotel room.
Yeah.
Are you looking pretty in a hotel room?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. So I'll jump in here. Like,
but yeah, just to like kind of give context of what we're talking about, because this is interesting. I wanted to save it for the podcast because I felt like it was going to go somewhere.
Blake literally made us press pause. He like physically pressed pause on that conversation. Was like, table that. We'll get back to it.
We'll get back to it. We're here now.
So like I write. You know, I grew up with music, and like every once in a while, I'll write songs, and like I'm a big reader. Like, I love Hemingway, and like that's what. That song, like some of those lyrics remind me of kind of like the way Hemingway writes, which was like very visual, you know, and like Kerouac and a bunch of others were the same way, where they're like kind of like like they write.
It's all a visual, bro.
It's a visual. They like write in a way that like is very simple, but it gives you room as a reader to be like, that's what I think this looks like, or that's what this reminds me of.
It's an observation.
And it's less mental. Or I mean, it's all mental, but it's about like writing things that are an idea, and like that line about like, you know, looking pretty in a hotel bar.
And the whole verse is an observation, right? Like, it's, hey, I was doing just fine before I met you. I drink too much and that's an issue, but I'm okay. Hey, tell your friends it was nice to meet them, but I hope I never see them again.
Yeah,
it's like a image, observation, thoughts. Simple though.
No, yeah, it's super simple, which is part of the conversation we were having.
Yes.
Like, the Chainsmokers they're not complex, but what I think they do a really good job of is like that idea, you know, or like the visual, and now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar. Like, nobody wants to like think of their ex like looking beautiful. So I'll say this, like, I think of that line, and I think like the way I took that lyric was, I can think of like the exact bar at like a hotel I used to work at. I worked at the Park Hyatt, which has like a Michelin star restaurant. It's like a super fancy hotel in downtown DC. So I like think of that bar, and then I like think of my ex.
You have your own image.
Yeah, exactly. So I think of like my ex looking beautiful at that bar. Like, I'm no longer.
That's literally a hotel bar.
Yeah, literally. You know, and like that's the image I see. And like the cool thing about that lyric is that hotel bar and like what that girl looks like, or guy, or whoever like you're thinking of, is different for every person. And so they wrote a lyric that everyone can kind of be like, oh,
they have their own.
Yeah,
it's specific and vague at the same time.
For sure. Because like I immediately know what bar. You know, and I know who I'm thinking of. Like, I can probably vaguely see what she's wearing. You know, like,
Right.
Like, there's an image, and like,
Nobody, it's different for everyone,
it's
too.
different for everyone.
Nobody can take that away, and it's different for everyone.
But I mean, I think that's a beautiful part.
And
of, like,
also the lyrics not telling you to think
Yeah.
of this person in a dress, like this type of way.
No.
They're just saying, and now you're looking pretty in a hotel. It's been 4 years, no calls.
yeah,
Now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar. Imagine that.
yeah, like,
Bro!
dude, it's
The
interesting.
fuck?
And like, as a songwriter, like that's craft right there. Where like, you know, you can stumble into that, but like to give the reader or like the audience space to like think of an image and be like, okay, that's what I see.
Yeah.
And not make it specific.
I love how we're breaking this down too, and I want to just equate this like kind of why we just kind of cut into this. I think this is really cool, and people have a lot of isolation time right now, and I'm sure a lot of people are listening to music.
Oh,
And I'm sure they're going through the feels of like whatever. And I think this is really cool. Like we have this conversation because this has to do with dating. This has to do with relationships. And I'm sure people like, if they're not with somebody, they're lonely and you lonely and you,
Yeah.
then you start thinking about, now you're looking pretty in a hotel bar and, you know what I'm saying? Like you start feeling that
Yeah.
vibey vibe. So I think it's just kind of to touch on your point, not to take away from it. You know what I mean? But
no, I think it's super interesting, and I would agree with that because I'm listening to a ton of music right now. Like last night, I like snuck onto the rooftop, you know, drank a bottle of wine.
Oh, fancy.
You know, looked out over downtown Austin, you know, and like
peasants.
had my had my headphones in, you know, listening to some music, like, you know. But like, I joke, but I think for me, certainly, like, music is a coping mechanism.
Absolutely. For all of us.
And I don't mean coping mechanism in the sense of like my life is awful. I just mean like, you know, music makes me feel good, you know?
It makes you feel.
Yeah.
How about it just makes you feel?
So
good, bad, sad, happy, like it just makes you feel. It is the catalyst for feelings. Literally, when you listen to a song, you're gonna feel what the kids call some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you grab me a White Claw if you don't mind, sir? But yeah, you're definitely gonna feel some type of way. And I think this time right now, man, like as we kind of dive into the song, like I didn't know we were gonna kind of do it this much, but I'm not mad at it either. But like, people have to like understand, like, or have to be in the same zone that we're talking about. You know what I mean? Thank you, sir. They have to be like doing what you're not the only one.
Yeah.
You motherfucker, you're not the only one listening to music. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But back to the branding conversation, like I think folks are just like maybe a month ago, I wouldn't have been as open about like being in my feelings or like this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
But I think we're all kind of on that like same
Welcome
journey
to
right
Unfiltered
now.
Bachelor.
You know, like where everyone's like, all right, like shit got weird. My routine's gone. Like I don't have my coping mechanism.
The fuck I do now.
I haven't been able to lift weights in 3 weeks.
Right.
You know, like life is weird. Okay. So what does that mean now? And like, I do think that a lot of folks are, excuse me. I do think a lot of folks are like maybe turning to music or film or like art as a way to process. And I'm cool with that.
Right.
Honestly. Like if we all come out of this and like maybe everyone's a little more like open and honest, like I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like I'll take that in the wash.
Yeah, man. It's quite the time that we live in, man. But yeah, I think that there's songs like that though, as we have time to like kind of reflect and think back on it, and dude, that whole song is just fucking like one big I miss you.
Yeah.
One big I miss you.
Yeah, I think that would be a really interesting question. Is to like,
What's the question?
I think people would have to take some time to think through this. But like, what are some of your all-time like favorite lyrics that like make you think of somebody?
Ooh.
You know, like,
can you think of any right now?
I was trying to think. It's like hard for me to multitask.
Because I have a whole playlist of songs that I've broken down or songs that I want to break down.
Yeah.
So anybody can go to Unfiltered Bachelor playlist on Spotify. Unfiltered Bachelor has its own playlist. Not only are we on Spotify, but I have my own playlist set up for Unfiltered Bachelor. And there are so many songs that I have on here, right? Like Lil Dicky songs, Rob Curley songs, stuff like that. And some of the best like lyrics that really remind me of people are Rob Curley lyrics. I know a lot of people aren't familiar with Rob Curley, but some of his songs, a lot of the songs that I have on here, really remind me of like a specific person, time, and place. Like, for instance, and I don't have this song on here, but I can just think back to, there's a song by Swedish House Mafia.
Okay.
It's called Don't You Worry, Child. You know that song? Don't you worry, child. Yeah. See, heaven's got a plan for you. Yeah, okay. So, sorry if I butchered the song, but anyways, the first verse. No. The first verse about there was a time when he said, look. So one of the verses is about like they're the person's dad, and then the second verse is about like a lost love. Let me see if I can find the lyrics real quick, because I don't want to butcher this. Let's see. Don't you worry, child. There it is. Is Swedish House Mafia actually? And I love Swedish House Mafia. I don't know. Okay, so it is the second verse because I was just reading the lyrics for the first verse. So the second verse goes like this. Check this out, man. There was a time I met a girl of a different kind. We ruled the world. I thought I'd never lose her out of sight. We were so young. I think about her now and then. I still hear songs reminded me of a friend. Hey. Fuck. That verse reminds me of this girl named Melanie, who was like, we never like officially dated. We weren't like boyfriend, girlfriend, but we just kind of fell into some sort of situation.
Yeah.
It was back like, dude, just 10 years ago, 2011.
But you still...
That song reminds me of her. For some reason.
Yeah.
The song came out like 2-3 years after we dated and like stopped fucking around, but like for some reason,
it's funny how the brain works.
It reminds me of her.
Yeah.
No matter whenever, wherever I hear that verse or I hear those words, it reminds me of that. And I think it's because of there was a time I met a girl of a different kind. What was so different about her?
Unpack that. Like, was she new to you? Like.
So, I'll unpack this whole story, man. So, I was out one night in April of 2011. I was on probation.
My man brought receipts. God damn.
Bro, I know. I got to see. I'm about to spill that tape.
It was 7:33, April 14th.
I was at Rooftop. I used to promote for that bar.
It was
on
Tuesday.
6th Street. On 6th Street. It was a Saturday. It was in April. It was Saturday. I was on probation. It was 2011. And I remember I wasn't drinking because I was on probation. And I had to breathe into a breathalyzer 4 times a day. So I was out and about promoting. Shouldn't even have been downtown. But I was there. I was doing it. I was doing the most. I need to make money, man. Well, I had a job, but I like making side money, bro. Hey, when you're 20,
I respect
23, bro, you trying to get that hus.
Right?
The hus. So, I remember being out at the bar, and a friend of mine who was with my buddy Mo, he was buying shots for people and stuff, and he's like, hey, here's these shots. Buy these girls, give these to the girls behind you. I was like, okay, cool. So I bought shots, and I gave them to the girls behind me. I'm like, hey, these are for you. And like, oh, okay. Like, hey, how's it going? I'm Blake, yada, yada. Nice to meet you. I'm Anna. I'm Melanie. Okay, nice to meet y'all. Cheers. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so how's your night going? Whatever. It's good. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, well, nice to meet y'all. I was just kind of like, I was still nervous. I was like, I don't know what the fuck to say.
23-year-old Blake.
Right, but I was good. I'll show you a picture of me, 23. Good looking kid. I'm still a good looking kid, but I'm sharp. I was fitting into my Express shirts back then, bro. Hey, I'll tell you what.
Express shirts.
My Express. I was expressing myself. But
Often.
What's that?
Often.
That's right. Every Saturday and Friday, you catch me expressing myself downtown. And so I was there, and I remember like we ended the combo, and then I felt this tap on my shoulder as I turned around. When I turned around, I felt this tap on my shoulder, and the girl was like, hey, is your name Blake Stevenson? And I just told her my first name. I was just like, I'm Blake. Nice to meet you. She's like, hey, is your name Blake Stevenson though? And I was like, yes. Like, how did you know? And she's like, dude, it's me, Melanie. It's Anna. We went to fucking Sacred Heart. I went to Sacred Heart 1st through 3rd grade.
Holy
These girls
shit.
remembered me from them, bro.
Wow.
Insane in the membrane.
When's the last time you like met someone randomly that you went to like elementary school with?
Elementary,
As someone
bro.
who's like moved a lot, like I haven't seen folks from elementary school.
Never ever, bro. I'm friends with a few of them from like on Facebook, but like I knew these people I wasn't friends with. Like we had no connects. Like what is going on, bro? It's insane. And so I was really trying to holler at the girl Anna,
Ooh,
the Anna girl.
She was your second choice.
Yeah, Anna was like, I was like, what's up with that girl right there? And she was like, and, and Melanie was just like real like, just trying to like peep me, and I would like pass her off to my buddy Mo. I'm like, yeah, anyways, talk to this guy. Let me come holler at your girlfriend over here. Hey, what's up, girl? You ain't got no silver teeth no more. I remember you in 3rd grade. You had all them silver caps. Now them baby teeth.
Was that your opening line? Like you don't have braces anymore. You're looking real good.
Hey, them silver teeth ain't. You ain't got the Mexican silver teeth now. What's up, girl? That was not my opening line. That'd have been rude.
if that works for anyone, let me know.
Yeah, let me know how
I think out of 1,000 people, that might get like one open. Like some girls, like yeah, that's right. Just talk.
Just talk.
Demean me.
Talk grimy to me. Yeah. So we became friends on Facebook. Like after that night, I had a party bus event, and Melanie was the date for my buddy Moses. But he had like 3 dates that night. For real. And
go Mo.
Gucci.
Like, I'm a big Gucci.
One of the dates is now with the girl he's married to. So shout outs to Amy.
Yeah.
But
she's like, so that's a great story. It's like, Mom, like, how'd you meet Dad? Well, I was one of his 3 dates on a party bus one night.
Right. In June. It was in June 2011.
I won. I stabbed the other 2 girls.
Game over. Would you like me to tuck you in right now? You want a little bit of water, a little bit of milk? Are you good? But yeah, so he kind of like wasn't paying attention to her. My date fell through. Like she was there, my date was there, but like got too drunk.
Poor Melanie. She's just second best. Like you're like, my date fell through.
And so I remember being on we went back to the party bus, end of the night. My date didn't even come on. She was too drunk. She's like, I'm gonna wait for my friends. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like she was just toasted. And I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. So I get on the party bus. It's returning people back to their cars. And I remember Melody being on there, and she was just like, "Hey, like, what's going on? How's it going?" I'm like, "Good." Like my date's over there. She's like, "Fuck your date." Like the night's still young, and I'm like, "It is 2:20 right now, ma'am. The night is not young. Like, what are you talking about?" I remember she did whippets in the party bus. She had whippets.
Yeah.
She had a canister that you put like the cream like on pancakes, or like you can put cream on anything, but like. If you don't put sugar in there, powdered sugar.
Red flag? Anybody?
If you don't put powdered sugar in there and you just put the nitrous and you inhale it, you're doing whippets.
I love it.
And she had one of those things. Like a little whippets canister and a little thing, and just
my girl is a professional.
Took it to the head and said, Gucci.
Certified party.
Certified Gucci. And so I remember she's like, you want some whippets? I was like, this girl was wild too. She had feathers in her hair. Like, instead of extensions, she had, like, feathers, like, tied into her hair.
She was different.
She was a different type. I met a girl of a different kind.
There we go.
That's what I'm saying, man. She was just different off the bat. Then I remember that night, I drove my buddy's car, and I had him, his date, and the date's sister, and Melody was, like, just came with us, and I'm like, we're going to go eat at 24 Diner. And
I still haven't been. I need to go.
It's great. Their chicken and waffles are the most amazing thing ever. They serve it with $75 syrup. Like if you ask for extra syrup, they're gonna get mad at you because they're like, it's $70 syrup. Like
I don't like a lot of syrup.
I don't need a whole bunch. You don't need a whole bunch for that either. It's like it's so fucking.
I love how you said syrup.
Syrup. I said it 2 different ways in one sentence.
I'm from St. Louis.
So syrup.
I like the way you do it right there.
I'll just say the scissor. That's never wrong. You can never say it wrong when you say scissor. Shout outs to Houston. But yeah, we hung out in the parking lot. My buddy, his date, and the sister went inside, and Melody was like, "Oh, you want to do some cocaine? I think I have a little bit left." And she had this little bag, and it had fucking cocaine in there.
So my girl has whippets, cocaine. Continue.
And then she was like, "I don't have enough for like a line, but like we could probably do numb gums." I'm like, "The fuck is numb gums?" And like she puts it in her mouth, And then we began to, she was like, come here. Like she put it in her mouth and she was like, come here. And she licked it off of her gums and put it into my gums. And I'm like, I've never done no shit like this, bro. Ain't never done no shit like this.
23-year-old block A. It's just like, what the fuck just happened?
Might have been 22 and a half. But anyways, yeah, I was almost 23. And yeah, and I was like, why do they call it numb gums? And as soon as, first of all, cocaine on your gums.
You're about to find out.
It's nasty. It tastes like it tastes like what Novocaine like smells like. But like, if you've ever smelled Novocaine, it tastes like what that smells like. It's weird. God awful. I never recommend it to anybody. But it's kind of a cool feeling. But it also is like, oh, this is the most bitter shit ever of all time. Imagine just, if you want a sample of this, put coffee grinds on your fucking like gums. Just rub it all on your fucking gums.
Combined with gasoline.
Right. You're not going to get high, but it'll be like what cocaine kind of feels like. It's like, this is the nastiest shit ever. Anyways, numb gums, we make out. I'm like, oh my God, this hot girl's fucking making out with me. What did I do to deserve this? I don't even fucking know. And then we just start chatting. We just start
So
chatting.
you go from full makeout to just like, let's talk.
We start like weeks after, like we talked for a few weeks after, like it would turn it into like, we're made out and we're friends. What's going on? She would tell me like, oh, you know, dating this guy, hooking up with this guy, whatever. And it was just like, cool. So like, I'm over here doing this. Like, it was just friends.
All right.
You know? And then it turned into a situation from like friends. Like I met her out a few times downtown. And one of the times that sticks out, was it Lanai? Lanai was open? Lanai, yeah. Lanai was this nightclub. It was above, you know where Shiner, it's on like 4th and Congress.
Okay.
Maybe 5th and Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like 4th or 5th and Congress, I want to say. Because there was this place called Geisha Room. And right now there's Shiner Bar or whatever the fuck, whatever. I think it's on 5th and Congress. And above that, at the very top, was this bar called Lanai. And Lanai was badass. And it had EDM, and it was just kind of, it had like a very lounge feel to it. You know what I'm saying? I remember meeting her there, and we were like, she was like, oh, meet me here, and like da-da-da, and like met her, and we were dancing, and you know, I had a Red Bull, I wasn't drinking still, and we just started dancing, and my hands kind of explode.
Woo-woo.
They get a little Dora the Explorer on her, you know what I'm saying? And I realized she's not wearing no panties. Oh, so we're on the dance floor.
I love how you just realized that. Like, I mean, that takes some effort.
My hands get a little. Hey, they get a little exploratory.
I have
you know what I
Tourette's
mean?
of the hand.
The idle hands are the devil's playground, if you know what I mean. So I realized she wasn't wearing any panties, and then like we're vibing like that on the dance floor. I don't know who's watching, who's not.
Is that what the kids call it these days? Vibing
on the dance floor.
So you were vibing the other night, and by vibing I mean I was fingering this girl
on the dance floor of the club. And then I remember we were making out, and then she took my necklace. I always have a little necklace like this, and the one I had at one point in time, it had I think like 3 crosses on it. I think at one point, maybe it was angel wings. I had the angel wings one, and she took it from me, and she was like, you'll get this back soon, but I'm going to keep this. And I was like,
and you were just fascinated.
Oh,
you're like whippets,
cocaine, numb gums, making out, fingering you,
like,
no panties.
Later,
yeah, and I was just like, oh, okay. I met a girl of a different kind, right? And then I remember, so fast forward, we're still kind of flirty here and there, right? And I remember it was the night before my birthday. This was July 12th, 2011.
Again with the receipts.
I got them. Hey, they're all stored in here. That year I didn't drink a lot, so.
I love how that means you remember everything.
Facts on facts. First of all, yes.
You're like, I didn't drink that year, and so it wasn't a blur. I remember
a lot of things very vividly, right? Yeah. And so,
meanwhile, I like forgot most of like 24 to 28. So.
I don't even remember what I did yesterday. So I remember we were texting. And then we were talking on the phone, and she was like, you know, if you make it over, like,
you can get that necklace back.
Well, I'd already got it. I think I'd already got it back at some point. We had met up or something. We had coffee or something. And, I remember she was like, you know what? If you make it over tonight, like, I'll play bass for you. She played bass. She's like, I'll play bass. I'll play Foster the People. The big song that was around was all the other kids with the pumped up kicks. She was playing pump. She was like, I'll play pumped up kicks for you on my bass naked. And I was just like, for real? So I borrowed my buddy's car. I did not have a car.
If you don't have a car, rent one at that point.
But yeah, you get there was no Uber, no shit. I didn't have no money for no taxi. Like,
he's like, I stole a car.
I basically
made my way over.
He told his parents I basically stole his car. But anyways, I borrowed his car. This was like 11:30, 11:40ish at night. I get to her place, and like she answers the fucking door completely naked, and I was like, oh my god. And then she plays the bass completely naked. Like, plays pumped up kicks. She puts pumped up kicks on, plays it completely naked. And then, I was so like, I was just like, oh.
Don't tell me you choked.
Hang on. I was so just like, oh, this is cute and all, but like, I didn't make no move. And I was there till like 5 a.m. So I leave. I leave.
Hold on. Let's press pause real quick. Okay. My girl opened the door naked, proceeded to give you a burlesque show, and you didn't make a move.
No, I didn't.
Like, what kind of stupid are you?
I was
special kind of.
I was very inexperienced. That year was the first year I ever lost my virginity.
Okay.
I lost it in January of that year. Well, January 1st, to be exact. I was still new, like. This was like sex and everything. I was very inexperienced.
Like, I don't know if she's interested in me.
Yeah. What other signs do you need? God damn it.
Meanwhile, she's like, dude, like, what else do I have to fucking do? Like,
what the fuck is wrong with it? Hey, you kind of stupid.
Are you broken? The answer is yes.
Water boy, you some kind of stupid.
Oh God,
I was water boy basically of the.
I wish I could have talked to you at that age and be like, dude,
I did not know shit,
like, dude. Like, all right.
So I leave at 5 a.m. She walks me out and she had put her clothes on. I guess she realized like at that point,
car naked,
and then no, she didn't put any clothes on. Actually, she walked me out naked, and then I get to my car and I'm like, damn, I should have made a move. My peepee's hard. Like, what is gonna happen? I guess I'll have to play with my peepees tonight. Like, I don't know, man.
I'm so mad at young boy.
And then no. And then the best part. So she peeks her head out as I get in the car and I start the car and I see her like wave, and she was like, hey, and I like rolled the window down. I'm like, what's up? She's like, come here. Like, I was like, oh shit, maybe there's a bug or something. Like, I probably gotta help. So I get out of the car and I like run in and I'm like, yo, what's up? She's like, do you want to just have sex? And I was just like, yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe. Right? Like, that's what, yeah, sure. Yeah, right? I didn't know. I was like, the fuck to do? Like,
God damn, dude.
So we ended up having sex. And it was amazing.
I mean, that took a turn. Like,
amazing.
I thought that you were going to go home, have to beat one out, deal with the self-loathing of like, you know, God, I mean, kudos. I'm glad the story turned around.
Shout out to homegirl.
Mad at you. I was real angry
mad at me. I'm mad at me still. But I had some sexy times on my birthday. What a way to ring in fucking 23. I think it was the most amazing experience ever. And so it's very great. And we kind of vowed never, we're like, oh, this is a one-time thing. Like, it's not going to happen a whole bunch. I mean, it happened a couple times after that. Like,
this is a one-time thing. We'll only do it every once in a while.
Right. It turned into like, I was like, I want to kiss you again. Like, I remember like a week or two later, I went in for a kiss again. And she's like, but we can't keep doing this. Like this, like date so many other guys.
Time.
Yeah. I date so many other guys like that. And I remember watching, what movie were we watching? Was it 16 Candles? I feel like that's what we're watching. And she had a friend over, but like, we were cuddling on the couch and her friend was on the other couch. I remember like doing the old like,
vibing.
The old slide your hand.
The old vibing.
The old vibe in my hand underneath the top of your dress to see what's going on under there. And then like her friend was like, I'll just go to sleep in your room. Like she's like, and Melody was like, yeah, we'll sleep on the couch. Didn't do a lot of sleeping, I'll tell you that much.
Look at you, reliving some good times.
This is great. And there were just so many good like memories. And I remember to kind of hit on this and end it. Really, what happened was like my friend was just like, my buddy Mo was just like, hey bro, you're just gonna admit that you fucking love this girl. Like, this was like this was like September-ish. Like, you're gonna admit that you love her. And I was just like, no, I don't fucking love nobody. Like, I don't fucking, no, all right. Like, no, you don't
Stop
fucking,
it.
you don't know, right? You don't fucking, but I did. I really did. I loved that girl. And, I remember we were one night, like, this was like one of the last nights that we ever like hooked up or hung out or did anything like that while we were still in that phase. And I remember her telling me, she was just like, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, yo, what's up? She's like, I think I love you. And I was like, oh my God, because like Mosey, my buddy Mosey was hitting me up and he was like, when she's admitting over, I'm like, actually, I think I love you too. Like, and she's like, well, what do you want to do? And I was just like, I kick myself for making this decision still to this day. She was like, well, what do you want to do about this? And I was just like, there's nothing to be done. Like, you have a purpose for the world that like I'm gonna hold you back on. Like, it was very weird, but like her personality was so big. Like, she had so much to offer, and I had shit going on for me. I was a fucking 23-year-old, no fucking car. Like, I had a shitty ass job. Like, she had fucking degrees. Like, she was going to school continuously for like,
Wow.
she wanted to do shit, and I was just like, bro, like, I'm not gonna do this to you. And I remember that like giving that up to like the universe in some sort of weird sacrificial way, I suppose. Maybe it's a Catholic guilt. I don't fucking know, bro. But
That's where I have some questions.
yeah, but like,
So did you really, like, in that moment, like, did you feel like you were actually going to hold her back? You did.
I did.
And so you gave that up. Like, you saw happiness and you were like, okay, like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, her living her best life had nothing to do with me in that moment. I was just like, I know what like this, like, you being with me, and I should have, you know, I kicked myself. Like, I don't have a lot of regrets. That one I always look back on, I'm like, I would have changed the answer in an instant, because like, we probably could have been a thing.
Yeah.
But I don't, I dwell on it, but I also don't, like, you know, I'm not like, when I get drunk, that's not what I'm thinking about when I get drunk, or if I think of like sad songs or like whatever, like, that's not what I think about. But I do know that moment, I do dwell on it sometimes. I'm just like, damn, like, it could have been different. But also, like, I don't let it hold me back either. Like, I don't make decisions based on that.
Okay.
But I do, like, if there's regrets, I don't have any about my DWI. I don't have any about like things that I've done, you know, whatever, what my life that I've lived. But that decision, like, it haunts me a bit.
Okay.
And I do, and that is my comparison of love. Like, I have a very, like, I if I compare everything to that, I know, like, it's real.
So you mean the feeling, like what that felt like what
That whole thing, man. Like, I remember one time we were out at a lake one time, and I was just kind of in my own feels, and we were like hanging out, and like, I was just like in my own feel, and I got out of the car. We were in the car and had a conversation, and it just kind of got really like deep and heavy.
Yeah.
And I got out of the car. I was just like, it was one of those moments in like a what do they call it? Like the TV, like a TV series, and like a drama, like a fucking Dawson's Creek or something. And like, you're in the car and you have an argument, and the guy leaves the car and slams the fucking door. I kind of did that whole number for like drama effect. And I remember just like standing by the lake, and I remember she came. I heard, like, I didn't turn, but I heard her get out of the car, and then she came up behind me and like, just like, she's all of like 5 foot nothing too, like 5'1" tops, like this little 105 pound, 96, like little, like just petite girl, and like came behind me and like hugged me, like held me and hugged me. And in that moment, I knew I was like, I just started tearing. I remember tearing up. Like, I was just like, this is like, for me, this is what love is.
Like snapshot moments
Oh
where you're like, all right, take a picture. Like,
right.
This
Oh
is
my God.
This is
like,
what you don't get
I'm
back.
I'm just like, you know, I don't say massive behemoth. I'm like this man, though. I'm a fucking man, and behind me I have this like tiny petite girl, like,
yeah,
coming to comfort me behind me. Like, we're just fucking, I don't know. But I that feeling, when I find that feeling again, when I find something that reminds me of that feeling, that's how I know, like, I'm in love. And that, I mean, that all goes back to, and I would love to hear your story about, like, I know this got into a deep segue of song, but like,
I love it.
This is, there was a, you know, it was a girl, like, there was a time I met a girl of a different kind.
Yeah.
That was her. and we're still friends to this day. And like, I haven't seen her since 2016. She moved away, and I remember the last interaction we had, like, we hadn't seen each other since 2011. We saw each other 2016. She was ready to move away. She was going to LA. She was quitting her job here. She was going to go be an entertainment lawyer. Like, she was going for law school for 3 years, you know, and like, it was all scary for her. And I remember her crying. We met at Austin Java over second in Congress over there.
Yeah.
Or like second in whatever. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
It was right down the street from where I used to work.
Yeah, yeah. And it was just one of those touching like moments of like vulnerability. We talk about vulnerability.
How long had it been since y'all like had seen each other before?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
See, that's what I find really interesting, and this kind of goes back to the conversation we were having about...
Or maybe 3, because she came to a party one time in like
Okay.
2013, but like, it was just one time. It was one time for the one time. You know what I mean? Like, outside of that, we hadn't had an interaction where I would imagine she'd be that vulnerable, but she was. And she cried, and like, I held her, and it was just like, for a moment, it felt like back to business as usual almost. It was great. It's weird. I'm sorry.
I know. I mean, that's a not to make light of it. Like, I feel like folks, you remember vibes.
You remember vibes.
It's that stupid. I think it's actually misquoted. Like everyone always says, like Maya Angelou, you know, like you'll forget the details essentially, but you'll always remember how people made you feel.
Yes.
You know? Like,
yeah.
Like humans, there's like a neural pathway. It's almost like a drug. You're like, that's how that person made me feel. And so I find it interesting that like y'all hadn't seen each other in a few years, but then like, you know, the vibe was still there. You know, like that neural pathway was still like the exact same.
Right.
I'm curious, like when you said, like when something feels like that again, like
what are you curious about? What's the question? I feel like there's a question like forming, but I want to know what it is.
There's a question forming just because I feel like I feel like a lot of folks will do the same thing. Like it's easier to remember a feeling and then you try to categorize new events by that feeling.
Compare it.
Yeah. And so you meet a girl and you're like, she doesn't make me feel like, is it Melody or Melanie? Melanie with an N.
Yeah.
So like you meet a girl and like in the back of your mind, you're like, doesn't feel like it felt like it did with Melanie.
Right.
You know, which I think is normal, but I also wonder, like,
is it fair, unfair type thing?
Fair, unfair, and also is it healthy? You know, because
I feel like it is. Like, okay, here's a perfect example. You had some badass coffee. I gave you some badass coffee, right?
Yeah.
You now have at least a comparison in your head, and this could go with any food group. I'm just going to equate this to food. You have something badass, and then this is you use coffee.
I love it.
You have some badass coffee, and you go somewhere else, and they serve you coffee. You've already had a comparison of what really good coffee is, so you have a bar set. You don't always need the bar to go higher. Can you meet the bar? Can that at least happen? You'll at least know when you've had shitty coffee compared to that bar. You know what I mean? The bar's been set for this is really good. So if you have something that's not quite there yet, you'll at least know that it's not there.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
No, I think it makes sense, and
I'm gonna make sure the door's unlocked too. My buddy's coming, but
okay,
keep talking.
Cool. No, I definitely think that makes sense, and I think what's kind of complex about that though is shit changes. You know, the coffee you loved 2 years ago is not going to be the coffee that you love today. You know,
Facts.
or at least
you're gonna have different tastes for different things.
Exactly, and so I like.
But you'll always know what shitty coffee is.
Yeah,
you'll always know if it has too much water.
So I don't think like the benchmark is dangerous, but I guess the reason I asked the question is because it's something I've been thinking through, like on my own, and you just kind of bringing up that comparison made me think about it because take quarantine and like social distancing. It's been a big change for me. You know, like I feel like I'm being a better friend. I feel like I'm like being more open. I feel like it's done a lot of really good things for me. And part of that, and like I'm going to be trying to talk through this idea. I haven't like thought through this a lot. So if it's weird, like here we go.
It's raw.
No, yeah, but it's like, you know, it's difficult to hold on. I'm gonna take 5 seconds and like think about it. Okay, so I just know that all of a sudden, like, I have a new normal.
Right.
And, like, for the last, like, 9 months or so, like, I've kind of been in this habit, and now, like, that just completely got broken up.
Your routine got broken.
My routine got broken up. And so I'm, like, finding all of these things that, like, make me happy that I was kind of ignoring previously, or just, like, maybe not appreciating enough. Like, you know, FaceTiming friends, you know, going on runs almost every day, like, waking up, having a cup of coffee, and just, like, walking around the neighborhood, you know, whereas, like, so, like, I'll just dive into that. Last week, for the most part, almost every morning, like, I got up, I made myself like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and, like, went and walked around the neighborhood for like an hour. And part of it's because I've been stuck in the house and, like, need to get out and, like, get some sunshine, get some fresh air. But just, like, walking around the neighborhood, maybe I listen to music, maybe I don't, but, like, that has been great for me. Whereas, like, 3-4 weeks ago, I would wake up, shower, rush to work, you know, work hard, come home, and, like, it was all kind of a blur to me, you know, but I was just, like, operating off a routine.
Right.
And now I'm not. Or, like, I'm creating almost healthier routines, and, like, I'm rediscovering things that, like, are great for me and, like, feel really good that I was just, like, not paying attention to previously. And so, like, that's kind of where my thought process went when you were talking about comparing things. Because I think sometimes we get into the habit of comparing things to, like, what it felt like previously, or comparing things to our routine, when, like, every once in a while we should just, like, go out there and search for that new.
I get it. And I definitely think that's a right way to approach it. But in my instance, and I'm going to stick by it, you know what? A piece of fruit is a piece of fruit. Like, whether you're into oranges next season or next year, you're into grapes,
cool.
You'll always know what a good apple tastes like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You will always know what a bad apple tastes like. That's all I'm saying. Like, you could be into different fruits, but you'll always have a benchmark of, like, what something is supposed to be.
And this is not like a win-lose conversation. I'm not saying not saying you're wrong.
Right,
you know,
right. There's a lot of ways to approach.
I was asking the question because I've kind of been thinking through that same concept myself, but in a different way. So, like, I agree, and I'll be completely honest. Like, Piri, if you listen to this, go ahead, take the ego boost. Like, Piri, you know, a friend I haven't talked to in ages, like, we kind of, like, have started talking again. And, like, she's just some of the best vibes, you know, that I've ever felt in my entire life. And, like, I have compared people to Piri. Like, it was just, like, fucking easy. It was, like, great. Like, she always made me feel great about myself. Like, she's just good people. So, like, I have compared people to her. And, like, so I've been there. Been like, does this feel like Melanie? Like, you know, is this above or below that bar? Which I think is healthy, because, like, if it's not above that bar, like, it's not worth.
If it's not equal to or
if
greater
it's not
than,
equal or greater than, it's not worth my time.
Right.
You know, and, like, so I'll make a quick segue, and I love that mindset, though. Even though I've been kind of just, I think there's some danger to it, you know, to constantly compare things. But I do love that mindset, because, like, my cousin, after he went through his divorce, really kind of, like, synthesized that for me. He's like, I get what I need from my people, from my sister, from my mom, from my boys, like, from you. Like, I get, like, what I need. And if I'm going to be in a relationship with a woman, like, she has to bring more than that. Like, she has to add something. And so I think that's healthy to, like, look at the relationships and be like, what is this person adding? And this goes back to our last conversation. It was like, sometimes, like, in the moment, all you need is 2 out of 10.
Right.
You know, you don't need 10 out of 10. You don't need 12 out of 10. But then I think, like, maybe if you're approaching it more seriously, or, like, gonna, like, bring someone into your life, they meet your family, whatever, like, they have to bring some extra.
And I'll be honest, man, even the girl I was with for 5.5 years was never, like, I loved her, but it was never that.
Yeah.
And when I've never loved anybody, like, this may be to your point of what you're talking about, like, how is it fair? Almost like, how can you ever love somebody if, like, you hold on to that? And so maybe that's part of it, but I don't think it is. Like, I've just not. I've actually, you know, I've been there once. I've been there one other time.
Okay.
And it was last January, December.
Plot twist.
18,
it was when he met me.
January. Plot
Got him.
twist. Never thought it would end up like this. I was doing Mark Basie. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. You're a Mark Basie fan, right? Bro, yeah. One time for the one time. Can you grab me another one of these? I think I have another one. But I don't think that it was that. I don't think it was lack of, or I compared something to something, so it's never going to be met. You know what I mean? I didn't feel that way for my ex of 5.5 years, but I did love her. You know what I mean? I loved her, but just I never felt that vibe right like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go real honest here.
Go for
which
it.
I know you love. Unfiltered Bachelor, ladies
What we're
and
here
gentlemen.
for. That's what we're here for.
All right, so that's what I find really interesting, which I am realizing I say entirely too much, is I spent 6 years with a girl that, like, I've had higher highs in a way. You know, like, you know, Melanie was a spike for you.
Yes.
You know, so you know what that feels like. I've had those too, and as far as like intensity of feeling, like I don't know if I ever felt that about the girl I spent 6 years with, which is funny because I invested 6 years. Where like when I met her, it just seemed like she fit. Like, you know, we fit intellectually. We could have conversations about music. Like, you know, I could bring her home to my parents. You know, it felt like our lives like aligned enough. Mm-hmm. And like there was like an emotional, you know, kind of like initial connection and things of that nature. But like it was more like it just felt like it fit. Like it was easier to make the puzzle piece.
Right.
You know, fit. Whether that's family, job, career goals, like, you know, kind of like but those like Melanie moments are different, you know, like
I met a girl of a different type.
I met a girl of a different kind.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
You know, and like, Gigi came to see me in August we went to ACL, and it was like crazy fucking time, you know, festival. I haven't seen Gigi in years, you know, like she just got out of a divorce. I had just gone through my breakup, but like we did some Molly, you know.
I had Molly during ACL.
Yeah, and like ACL, I mean, ACL was fucking amazing, you know, and like we don't want to talk about a high, no pun intended, you know, like it was just a great fucking weekend.
Yeah.
It really was. And like, you know, it is kind of a benchmark moment.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
you understand at least what the baseline is.
To have those, which I find it so funny.
What is it? This is just an interesting question. I'm sorry to cut you off. What is the baseline for love? It's different for everyone.
Yeah, and it's hard to quantify that. Like, you
yes,
know, it's just like it's how, you know, that feeling. You can't manufacture that.
You can't
try to
describe it.
You know, but I don't know. I think it's super funny.
It's complex too.
No, it's complex. There's no right answer here. Like all we can do is like take our lumps.
There's also no wrong answer here.
There's no wrong answer, but you know, it's like all you can do is kind of like take a few punches to the face and like see how you feel afterwards. You know, like you're like, all right, like okay, you know, here we are.
I'm still here.
I'm 30. You know, just pounding beers on a podcast, having a good time. So like,
cheers to that.
Cheers, Bubba.
Oh, man. Yeah, but that is my benchmark of this is. I mean, we talked about songs that remind you of somebody. That's my song that reminds me of somebody, and that's the story that goes hand in hand with just that one verse. And yeah. I'll never forget.
Oh, yeah, can we just appreciate that you talked for like 30 minutes about a girl? I don't know when the last time you talked about her was.
Yeah, but I don't think I've told this story.
That one line. Like, I mean, that's what's so fascinating about humans. Like, all it takes is, like, a smell or, like, one line. And all of a sudden you're like, God damn, like, I miss Catherine.
All this history, yeah. All this history.
Like...
And she's doing good. We're still friends on Facebook, Instagram. Like, we don't text or anything like that anymore. But, like, she's got a boyfriend now. Like, she looks happy. And I'm super happy for her. Like, she just got her entertainment law degree. She's doing the most, man.
Just hit her with a quarantine and chill text.
She lives in LA.
Okay. Well,
I wouldn't, man. Like, she looks happy. Like, yeah. I never would do anything to.
I feel you.
Interfere with her happiness, and that's what I gave up. That one day was literally my happiness for hers.
Yeah, that's. I do want to go back to that though, because was that self-sabotage? Was that Catholic guilt? You know, I feel like I've done that.
I feel like I didn't deserve it. I loved her and she loved me, and we admitted it such at that point. And I just almost felt like I needed to be the white knight. I needed to sacrifice.
Why do humans do that? For me, it was definitely religious and
Catholic guilt. Like I said, like Catholic guilt.
But
like, also, like,
if I love something,
Catholic,
it needs to be painful and I have to sacrifice.
Almost Catholic guilt, but also it was white knight guilt. Like I was always the white knight. Like I was always the shining, like, oh, come here, I'm so sorry your boyfriend talked to you like that. But I never got play, you know what I mean? Like I was always like the best friend in that best friend circle, and like, you're such a nice guy, somebody's gonna deserve you. I'm like, bitch, I'm trying to holler at you. You know what I'm saying? I want to deserve you. I want to deserve you.
What are you talking about?
I'm like Mario, you know what I'm saying? Baby, you should let me love you. Let me be the one to. But I was always that. And so when that happened, I just kind of was just like, the universe deserves something. Like the universe deserves something I don't. The universe needs more than I do.
Yeah.
I'm not putting my needs first.
Which is so fucking shitty.
It's so crazy, but also like, imagine this. Had we been together, I don't know what the fuck would have happened, but I don't think she would have gotten her law degree. I don't think she would have met this guy. Like, she would have moved to LA. Like, she's living
conjecture though. You don't know.
She's living her best life right now. And I don't know if she would have lived her best life with me.
I mean, you say best life, but like the only things that you listed were like accomplishments.
Career's an accomplishment. Like she's focused on her career. Like I didn't want to be the reason.
I'm just gonna play devil's advocate and say
go for it. But I didn't want to be the reason any percentage wise to hold her back from that.
Yeah, but I feel like that's sacrificial. Like that's like self destruction more than it is you doing good, because
facts.
The older I get, the more I realize that like. Yeah, I mean, accomplishments, like what? I've got a degree, I've got, this, that, the other, I make this much money, I've lived in these cities. Like, that's a dangerous kind of place to put, like, that's a dangerous foundation for happiness. I realized this summer, I was like, I put so much value in, like, the places I've lived, and, like, it became, like, a part of my identity. To like be the person that traveled, to be the person that like had lived elsewhere,
right? And like that's a part of like, oh, I am who I am because of this.
Yeah, which is true. Like I would not trade like all the cities I've lived in and like the experience and the growth that came out of that.
Right.
But what I realized was dangerous was like you can't like build happiness on that. You can't build like self-identity.
You're building your home on sand at that point.
Exactly. And so I just feel like that idea is dangerous to be like, oh, I did the right thing. I let her go. Like she wouldn't have had her career without it. You don't know that. Like you don't know what.
And this goes back to the regret.
Yeah,
I don't regret a lot, and that's probably the thing.
And I have those moments too. Like it's funny, those snapshot moments where you look back and you're like, what if I had made that decision? It's like that stupid Garth Brooks song, like Unanswered Prayers. Tell me you've heard that.
Yeah, I know.
The entire theme around like the things you wanted, but like not just the things you wanted, like the things you had an opportunity. So this is a fun story. So Catherine, meet a girl, coming home. I'm living in DC, just moved there, coming back drunk from like U Street. Been out with like all my friends. I walk out of the elevator, and there's this beautiful, like petite blonde sitting in the hallway. Like I like walk out of the elevator and she's just sitting there, and I'm like, holy shit. When I say
holy shnikes,
like when I say beautiful, like if I'll pull up pictures at some point. God damn, like we're talking striking,
gorge, absolutely
gorgeous.
Oh, I should probably show you. Keep talking. I should probably show
so
Melanie.
I walk out of the elevator, see her. I'm like practically speechless, but I gather my senses and like walk up and say hello. Still kind of drunk, and she like lives right down the hall from me. We're on the same floor in the same dorm. And long story short, get her number. One of the first times in my life, like I'd ever played like the long hustle, like we did like homework together and like, like had cocktails and like played the piano, like, kind of just like dating shit. Hold on. I'm looking at a picture of. Damn, son, I see you. I see you.
I'm not Asian, but you call me damn, son.
What's that Drake line? I'm trying to remember. But anyway, like long story short, like play the long game, you know, this, that, the other. It's St. Patrick's Day. End up back at her. It's been like 2-3 months, something like that. I'm seeing other people. She has a boyfriend, you know, like whatever. Also, like, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. So, you know,
right? Yeah,
he's traveling. He's out of the country. We're in college. Okay, you know, like I made a mistake. Fight me.
Getting pee-pees wet.
Yeah. So it's like St. Patrick's Day. We have a bunch of people over. I'm the last person to leave. Like we end up hooking up and like we go to a couple concerts. Like life kind of goes on. Like it doesn't happen frequently, but like once every couple weeks, you know, like we end up together and like just great. But like in the back of my mind, I'm like, she has a boyfriend. I know what that means. And I had this, that, the other. We're laying in bed one night and she's like, so what happens when he gets back? And in my mind, I'm like, you already cheated on him with me. Like,
right. What do you mean what happens?
Like, yeah. we know what happens. Like, unless I'm just like really fucking special, you know, which maybe I was. But no, she's like, so what happens? Like when he gets back. And I don't even remember what I said. I just know that I tabled it. I was like, I guess we're done, you know? And I don't regret it in the sense of like, I do think that was probably the right decision. But like I bumped into her like 8 months later and I had met my girlfriend. I was like now with my girlfriend. And it's like, she's the type of girl you see out in public randomly and like it wrecks your day, you know, where you're like, what if? You know, what if I would have been like, okay, like,
we're a thing,
you know, break up with him. Like, let's do this. Let's
fuck that motherfucker.
You know, and it's also crazy. Like, she's like her family is connected, super political family.
Connected and respected. Very wealthy, like super, you know, political, you know, and so it's like, I wonder all those things. I'm like, what would have life looked like if I made that decision? Mm-hmm. You know, it would have been completely different. I was 24, you know, like maybe, you know, but like playing that coulda, shoulda, woulda game. You can't, man. Like,
you know, is
I hate. You know what? We get old and we get to this older point in our life right now. We're older. We're not old. We're older. Fuck you.
I'm physically old. I'm like mentally super young, but like my knees hurt.
Fuck you. But we're older, and I'm at the point where I don't want to live in the shoulda, coulda, woulda. I'm at the point where like I pretty much I do everything the fuck I'm gonna do. I don't want to live in the woulda, coulda, shoulda. I don't want to be that. I like that is the moment that I talked about, and probably you're describing too. It's like one of those moments like I never want to live in that what if anymore. Like you learn from that moment, and you're like, because I lived through this, and it had to do with somebody like that meant this to me.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna do that again, and never have I ever. If since then, I don't remember a time where like if something came up relationship wise where it's an important question, I haven't spoken the truth. I haven't spoken what's on my mind. If I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. If I'm not, I'm not. And I'll let you know. And I'm not going to lie. I'm sick of lying to myself. I'm sick of lying to people. Like there's no more of that, bro.
Yeah.
Like I have no more time for this. And I'd never want to live in the regret of like, I made this decision to make this person happy. Or I made this decision because I think it's best for the universe. Shut the fuck up, Blake. Like, what about a decision to make you happy?
Yeah. I love that, honestly. But I think you got to take a couple punches before you get at that. Well, and maybe not. Like, I'm a pretty self-destructive person. I feel like I've definitely lied to myself. I've hid behind, you know, like all of those things.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about, right? We talked about solo sports. Dating is a solo sport, bro.
Dating is not a solo sport.
It's a solo sport for yourself. Like it's you versus yourself.
You should figure that out before you date. I think
you never know though. There's so many things that you go through when you're dating that you're like, I didn't know I was going to go through this. I didn't enter this thinking I was going to go.
Yeah.
Like much like when you're running. Like you were talking about running today, and you hit that last half mile.
And
you're
about
like, damn,
passed out.
I might about pass out. How many points do you hit like that in a relationship? Where you're at the end of your wit and you're like, I might about pass out right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And you didn't expect to get there. You didn't expect to start the journey and be like, had you known when you started the journey, if somebody was like at 6.5 miles, motherfucker, you about to fuck up. And you're like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, right. If somebody told you that though,
you
might not run.
Well, you also wouldn't believe it. You don't know until
You wouldn't
get
believe
there.
it, but there's a part of you like, he's stupid, but also like, damn, is I gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a part of you that has a self-doubt.
This makes me think of that Chris Rock.
Does this make, yeah.
No, that Chris Rock sketch. He's like, you've never been in love until the only thing stopping you from killing her ass is an episode of CSI.
That's exactly that.
Like he's like, you have never been in love until like, and like he's making the joke that like love is wanting to kill that person and like still staying with them.
Right.
And like that's not what folks like. I mean, I do think pop culture is getting better about like showing that side of a relationship. I forget that movie with Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver that just came out on Netflix.
Oh, the marriage or something.
I thought that was a super honest take on like.
I need to watch it,
dude. It was a super honest take. I felt like on like how folks respond. When like a marriage dissolves, and like there are times where they're like cordial and kind of like on the same team, and then there are times where they just fucking hate each other, and then there's times where they lash out. There's times where like they're just being cruel for the sake of being cruel. That's an honest expose on like what relationships are. But like you don't know that,
right? This is what I go back to. Like it is a solo sport. Like it takes two to tango. It's like fighting. Right, it's combat sport. It takes two to have a fight. It takes two people, but really the sport is an individual versus their mentality and like going into it. And so I think that's where I was getting at, right? Like it's a solo sport in that aspect. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it kind of makes sense, but
I might be stretching. If you're telling me, you're like, you're kind of stretching it. Like, maybe, but
I'm not going to say you're stretching it because like words are. I mean, there's
some truth to it.
I think there's some truth to it. I mean, kind of the way I'm visualizing what you're saying is like there's two sides. It's the conversation we had earlier about what fighting is. There's like the thousands of hours that you spend alone training or with your coach, like prepping,
right,
becoming better, getting your lungs in shape. Getting your pain tolerance where it's at, learning technique, learning, footing, etc. So that's one side. The other side is like you are never going to be a great fighter, a great basketball player, a great, like boyfriend if you're like doing all that shit in a vacuum, like learning the shit that you learn about yourself. Then all of a sudden you throw another fighter in the ring. And it doesn't matter like what your cardio is. Like if he's got a killer left hook that you can't solve,
you're going to get whacked.
You're going to get whacked, And so it's like there's the control what you can control aspect, but then there's also like you have to like kind of get out there and see what's happening. You need context, and I think that's what I'm saying as far as like dating goes. Is I feel like so many people just don't take the time to figure their fucking self out.
Yes,
and like learn what drives you, learn what motivates you, learn what makes you happy, learn what your triggers are, and then like be aware of those. Not only like when you're dating somebody, but like possibly picking someone to be in a relationship with.
It's like fighting, where it takes the right opponent for you to unmask those.
I love how we're making dating about someone like where like like physically
it's a combat sport.
It's a combat. Dating is a combat sport, ladies and gentlemen. That's gonna be my takeaway from today's podcast.
But there's some truth with that, right? Like it takes the right opponent for you to find the holes in yourself. And like you can't just
I found the right opponent. If you want to talk about like poking holes in yourself,
we can have a conversation about that. Actually, let's do that. Let's take a break real quick. And I think we'll dig down that rabbit hole because I want to hear. I talked about my song. Let's hear about your song when we come back.
Heard.
What's your song and what it reminds you of, and we'll go in an entirely different direction. And I think this will be really good.
Heard.
Perfect. So
Gucci.
You guys won't even notice the difference. We'll be right back.
Little fire in my soul, like embers rising up from the cold. A little spark in the bowl. Was a fragment, not the foe. Kinda hell-bent on being alone until you came in and broke the mold.
And we are back. I don't think you noticed the difference here with my boy Tyler. We done got down some. We're Alice in Wonderland. We're going down the deep dark rabbit holes.
Blake cried for sure.
That's why I had to take a break. But hey,
I held him softly, not quite like Melanie from behind, but you know,
he still held me, and it still counted. But it's your turn to tell me is there a song or a line of a song that like takes you down the dark rabbit hole? Not even dark rabbit hole, but it's like down the rabbit hole that I went down. Like, is there something like that it just sticks out to you that you say one line and like it takes you down this whole nother pathway of all these thoughts of like someone?
I was trying to think of like the only one that came to mind is breakup related, and I thought long and hard and was like, come up with something that's more fun.
It doesn't. I mean, sometimes it's not fun,
but it didn't happen. So this is not dark. Like I feel like I'm in a really good spot, but this was an interesting time for me because I think like post a breakup, like no one just preps you for what happens. You know, it's like It's like the call to your buddies where you're like, all right, like Lauren and I broke up. I know Jenna loves Lauren. Like Jenna's probably gonna be mad at me for a little while. Like, you know, you have to have like these weird conversations with your friends or family like that. I mean, and that's just like the organizational bullshit that was like really difficult for me. Mm-hmm. But I think it's like those moments that no one talks to you about or like you just never thought of. Mm-hmm. So here's the lyric. Just another sad song of a love gone wrong. I hate that I'm taking our pictures off the wall. Ooh. And that's what was hilarious to me, like after the breakup. Like I literally laughed a couple times, like just in the middle of the shit, you know, where you're like, this is so fucked up. It's just kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But it's like, that was, I think, one of the most difficult things about going through that entire process was like the divvying up of things. Like,
who is that song from?
It's Judah and the Lion.
Oh, I know Judah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and like I was excited, like they were going to be at ACL. You know, I like got on this phase where I was like trying to listen to all the artists that I wanted to like see at ACL. And like I just thought that was like a super honest lyric, and like I don't think if you've been in that moment, like that lyric is meaningful to you. So I it goes back to our earlier conversation about like it's an image, and like literally you're sitting there in like the apartment you used to live in, and y'all are like picking pictures. Like you keep that, I take this. You know, like you know you're moving, etc. So it's like it's not a crazy story in the sense of like, oh, there's like all this history. We've already kind of like talked about, you know, my previous relationship, but it's more like I just appreciate that kind of honesty in songwriting. So like I looked it up, the background, he was going through a divorce while he wrote that lyric, or he was actually
Judah the Lion. Why does that sound familiar?
They're kind of fun. This goes back. I actually saw a show with Catherine of Judah and the Lion, like this tiny little coffee shop in Virginia. They were like a Christian band, and then they like quote unquote backslid or whatever. Like they're no longer Christian, but they're super super fun, kind of like folk driven,
like Americana.
Folk driven, right? Yeah, but they did an amazing cover of like "Fat Bottom Girls" by Queen. You know, like they do some fun stuff. They're a little out there.
Okay.
Think like, I'm trying to think of who to describe them. Think like the Lumineers meets Mumford and Sons meets.
And that's all folk Americana.
Yeah, meets like Macklemore.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, like they like throw in like some weird kind of like hip hop and like EDM stuff as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're a little bit of everything. But like, I think the lead singer was actually going through a divorce when he wrote that lyric, and I just like appreciated the honesty of it.
Read it one more time.
Okay, so let's pull this up. So, just another sad song of a love gone wrong. I hate that I'm taking our pictures off the wall. And like, I had just gone through that. Like, I was living in a new apartment. Like, she was about to move to New York. Like, I had to like go back to the apartment and like pick shit up, you know, and like. Little things like she's like, do you want this like bottle of, or like, do you want this like garlic powder? Because, you know, like I'm not going to use it in my move. Or like, here's this picture of like you and your family and I'm in it. Like, do you want to keep that? Man, or
I feel that,
you know, and like that's, you know, just like no one has that conversation with you. Like when you're about to go through a breakup, like no one's like, okay, like you're just gonna like throw out pictures that used to be on the wall for 2-3 years in the apartment you used to live in, and then like all of a sudden you just kind of like rip the Band-Aid off and like, all right, here we go.
Right.
So I just like I guess I've said it about 4 times now. I appreciated the honesty of the lyric, but I also just think like you don't, unless you've gone through that, unless you've gone through like the breakup or the divorce or whatever the case is, like you're not going to understand that image.
You got to go through that experience.
Yeah. Because otherwise you're like, what the fuck? Like, I don't care about a picture.
I mean, it's sad, but also don't hit you in that way.
Yeah. Unless you've like actually done that. Like if you've walked through an empty apartment, after you're both like moving on and like, leaving, like that's when you're like, this is what a breakup feels like.
Yeah.
We talked about like what a great relationship or like what love feels like.
We just took an opposite turn.
Yeah, this is the opposite. Like that's what a breakup feels like. A breakup is like throwing away a picture that was on your wall for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, like I think it's kind of funny because that's kind of a dark, like maybe a little bit of a dark turn. But I do feel like I'm in a really good place.
It's vulnerable and honest, and it's not anything to shy from.
Yeah. No, and it was also, I think it's been super helpful. Just in anything, like take right now with the social distancing. I think everyone's being pretty open and honest about like, this sucks, and if it sucks for you, like say it. And there's like definitely a therapy that happens of just knowing other folks have gone through that same experience. Mm-hmm. And so hearing someone else like write that lyric was just helpful in a way to be like, all right, like I'm not the only person that's been like, all right, this fucking sucks. Right. It's like, it's not validating in so much as it is like comforting in a way.
Yeah.
But I think we're all doing that right now. It's like, dude, like being alone for 2 weeks and like not seeing other humans fucking sucks. So I'm going to violate my social distancing and go do a podcast with my boy.
Here we are.
Here we are. No, for the audience, I had my bag ready. I was like standing downstairs ready for Blake to come pick me up, like just anxiously awaiting as he pulled into the drive. Like a single tear rolled down my cheek. And I was like, all right, finally, human contact.
Finally, I get to see somebody.
At last.
I want to touch on this, though. I remember the day that I moved out of my ex's place.
Ooh. See, it's a traumatic event. Let's dive in.
Well, it was traumatic because trauma is trauma. Remember,
trauma.
First of all, trauma is trauma.
That's our line.
Second of all, I remember the night before and I remember the day of. So the night before,
always bring receipts, though.
Bro, I got a good memory. I'm like an elephant. I got a good fucking memory. I'm out here in the streets.
So you said you remember the day of. The night before? The
night before was UFC, was Yoel Romero fighting Luke Rockhold. And the reason I remember that is because my buddy Bobby popped in and we were supposed to do a podcast, like a live fight companion podcast type style. And the reason he came over was because my ex had left. And the reason she left was she said she was going, we had broken up a week before. So I was living with her for a week and she was like, you need to move and like move out by Sunday. And I was like, fine. Like I didn't even fight it. I was just like, yeah, cool. I'll move out by next week. And I remember that it was UFC night and she was like, I'm going to go to my friend's house. They're going to have a Mardi Gras party. And like she showed me the Facebook event on her phone. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, why do you need to show me? Also, one, I don't give a fuck. But two, why the fuck you need to show me? She never showed me before. I'm going to be there and like yada yada. But it felt suspect.
Okay.
It felt so suspect because let's rewind focus a little bit. I was suspecting she was already seeing somebody and that's why she was breaking up with me. Because fast forward to the week before, she didn't come home one night. The only reason she came home for like 2 minutes was to drop off food for her dog. But that night, there was a Friday night the week before and she did not come home. And she went out to have happy hour with her coworkers, and she's like, "It's all girl happy hour." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna have bros over." No, none of my bros, like they all like kind of bailed last minute. And I was like, "Well, hey, maybe I can meet you at your next place." And she's like, "Oh, now you want to come and hang out with me?" This was like 7:30 that night, and I was just like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I always want to hang out with you." She's like, "You never want to pay attention to me," and like da da da. And I was just like,
"Wow,
what the fuck is like?" I was texting. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then I was like, well, hey, like, like, when are you coming home? And she's like, like whenever I'm done with my friends, and I'm like, well, also your dog has no food, and I know you bought food during lunch. You told me you bought food. It's like, you need to bring it. She's like, yeah, I guess I'll come by because we're gonna go to. We were living off of South First and Slaughter, and she was like, well, we're gonna go to Moon Tower, which is over off of Slaughter, Manchac area.
Okay.
So on the way home, she had to stop home. So she's like, she stopped home. She's like, delivered the food. I took it inside, and I was just like, hey, well, like, maybe I'll come out. And she's like, nah, don't worry about it. Just girls and yada, yada. She never came home that night. I called her, texted, nothing. I didn't hear from her. And then she texted me the next day, and I was like, hey, like, are you home yet? Like, just let me know. Like, dude, I had work the next day, too. This was a Friday night. I had work at 7:30 the next morning. And I didn't sleep a lick, really. I slept for maybe 3 or 4 hours, like, tops, because she didn't come home. And I just suspected, like, something was just up. Like, gig was up. Like, what is going on? Like, and I texted her the next day. It was like 1 or 2 o'clock. She's like, I'm not home yet. I'm like, when are you going home? Like, what is happening with you? Like, I could just tell something was way off.
Yeah, I mean, your gut
And then,
was going.
anyways, that night, the next day, like that Saturday, she was like, I think we should see other people. I think it's different from saying, I think we should break up, to I think we should see other people. When I hear, I think we should see other people,
I'm seeing other people.
That's mean I'm seeing other people. You should probably see other people. It's not like, I think there's problems. I think we should break up right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's a really, I think that's a really good differentiator right there. Like, I mean, if you break up for the reasons, and like some humans just aren't fucking compatible, like, I mean, break up. But if someone says like we should see other people, like that's because
that means you're seeing other people.
There is another.
And I asked
person.
her, I was like, so you're seeing someone else? And she's like, no, I'm not. But like, I think we should just see other people. Like, you realize, I think, as you get older and you go through experiences, verbiage plays a very important part.
Also, I'm in sales, so yes.
Verbiage plays a very important part. It's human psyche, right? Like, so for instance, this is a great tell right here. If a girl's into a guy, she'll be like, oh my God, he's so sweet. If a girl's not into a guy and if he's friend zoned, she'll be like, oh, he's so nice. He's just a nice guy. Same thing. Like, it really is, at the spirit of it, it's the same thing, but you're using two differentiating words to put these people in a box. Sweet is a girl who's into you or into a guy. They'll describe a guy as sweet. If a guy is friend zoned or like she's not into him, she's like, he's so nice.
I always just try to avoid both, you know, like don't be sweet or nice, you know, just like
just be an asshole.
just be an asshole and be available for like one thing and one thing only, and it like simplifies things. So,
Deliver. You're a meat delivery guy.
Yeah, exactly. Just steaks on order.
Like Arby's, you got the meats.
That's all I'm trying to be right now.
I'm just trying to be delivery Arby's. Yeah, I'm saying I deliver the meats. Yeah. But I remember that's what happened, and it was just like, what can we do to fix this? Nothing. There was nothing to fix. And I remember, so she went out that Saturday night, like the week after. She said she had somewhere to go, and I suspected something was wrong because she was like, well, I'm just going to spend the night at my friend's. And I was just like, you never spend the night at your friends, ever. Like, even when we're together, you hate spending the night at your friends. You love sleeping in your bed. And she was like, well, I'm just going to be there, and I don't want to be here. And I'm like, okay. Like, but I suspected something. The gig is up when she had back problems, like real, like back problems. Like, wait, what are you laughing at? Did I say something funny?
If somebody gave her back problems, all right.
It wasn't me, apparently. No, she had back problems, and
to the audience, I was like choking on my beer, and Blake's like, "What the fuck is happening?"
The fuck is happening?
Oh, like,
she had like back problems and like neck problems. She was always getting massages.
Somebody
and shit.
blew that shit up.
So she had this, like, she bought like one of those $100 pillows. It's like the memory foam or whatever kind of. You know what I'm talking about?
Like, don't you want to get your pillow?
Yes, I did say that. She was leaving, and I go, "When you're sleeping, don't you need your pillow?" And she's like, Oh yeah. And I was just like, gig is up, dude. You're going somewhere where you know that you're going to be comfortable. You don't need your fucking pillow.
Ooh.
Like, I just kind of instantly knew. Like, that's when I knew she was already going somewhere where she knew the territory. She knew the layout.
She had a second pillow.
Yeah, she already, whoever she was going, whatever dude she was hanging out, had a pillow for her, like, that was comfortable. Like, had a bed that was comfortable.
Son.
but I just knew this. I just figured that out just by that sentence. I'm like, don't you? And she grabbed it. She's like, oh yeah. So she leaves. My buddy comes over, and we were doing an MMA podcast. And I remember all this because what was the? Oh, so I moved. So we got fucked up that night. We got drunk as litty as fuck. The podcast did end up like it was like Murphy's Law. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Okay.
Like internet fucked up. I couldn't do a podcast. My Wi-Fi, like it just like the Facebook Live wasn't going. Like nothing was working. I tried to record, and then my laptop crashed. It was just anything that could go wrong did go wrong, except for we were watching like the fight. So we fast forward to the next day, and like, dude, I remember like waking up like very hungover, and I remember having to like.
That was me this morning. Then I went and ran 7 miles,
and you felt like a beast.
Felt amazing afterwards.
And I remember though, like packing. And like having to take pictures and having to take like my shit. And I remember packing in my maroon 09 Hyundai Sonata where the driver's handle on the outside and inside were broken. So I could only enter the car through the passenger seat. And I remember packing so much shit in my car, I could barely like slide through the passenger and like cross over to get in. And, it was just a nightmare, dude.
What would happen today if you saw an 09 maroon Hyundai Sonata?
It would remind me of my own car, my old car. But I fixed the door handle. But like at the time, I remember just all the pain of like I remember even like I had a photo, and I was like, "Hey, can I have this photo?" And like she was like, "I don't care." Like she didn't come home until like 6:30, 7 o'clock when I like 30 minutes before I was like leaving. She's like, "Are you leaving soon?" And I was like, "Damn." Like,
yeah.
I was like literally damn near crying before she got in. Like it was heartfelt, bro. I was playing like I remember.
What was the song? What were you playing?
Where'd you go? I miss you so. Seems like it's been forever since you've been gone.
Okay.
Please come back home. Fort Minor. Where'd you go? I was playing that on like repeat, bro, and I was like sobbing. I was a car. It would call me a sob. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean it's like
but it's that same feeling. Like when you were talking about that line, that took me back to that day, that Sunday, when I was moving out, and like I had all my shit in my car, and I moved in. I called my grandma. I'm like, "Hey, do you still have a room ready?"
Yeah.
For a year and a half. For a year and a half.
She's like, "Mijo, yeah, yes."
For a year and a half, she had a room ready for me.
Wow.
Because we had broke up once, and I moved half my stuff.
Yeah.
And I never moved it back. I never moved it back. So she was ready for me for a year and a half.
I want to meet your abuela for sure,
dude.
Like
you heard her on the phone with me earlier.
Once Corona is over,
the Corona over.
We need to get her a gun too. Like random strangers are like knocking on her shit. Like does
bro, yeah, we got.
Does abuela know how to fucking shoot?
She knows how to shank.
Yeah, she was like, he had her on speaker earlier, and she was like, "Mijo, I need a gun and I need some knives." I was like, "If you have a gun, why do you need knives?" But like, I mean, apparently she has an MO, so
she needs a gun with a bayonet. Like,
yeah, right. She's ready. She's like,
"Come musket."
On. She's like, "Come on." Isn't that? So I brought Blake a cigar cutter, and he cannot stop clicking.
It's so comforting.
It's therapeutic. It really is. No, I think. I mean, this is where the entire conversation started for us. Is I appreciate lyrics like that like immediately snap you back to like a moment,
to something,
you know. And like, so we thought of two different moments, obviously, like, you know, two different relationships, two different women, two different, you know, life experiences.
Yeah.
But like that lyric, for people that have gone through that, they like know what it's like to divvy up photos.
Yeah.
They know what it's like to like, you know, what do you want to keep? Do you want the couch? No. Do we just throw it away because we don't want to like be reminded of, you know, the living room? Like whatever. Like that kind of like reality and like that honesty. It's just something like I will always appreciate out of songs or like movies or whatever. And don't get me wrong, like rom-coms are great, you know, like feel-good stories are great. But I also appreciate when people are like, all right, let me just expose kind of what happened and how it happened.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. And I'm sorry, I'm looking up there's a whole bunch of Rob Curley songs where like it just all this reminds me of like like sadness. Like sadness is a thing that he covers, and like I've broken down a lot of his songs on the podcast, and anytime I break down one of his songs, like it never gets any easier.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like a breakup song, man, and it just like lines like that and moments like that take me back to the songs, like and I mean there's a whole bunch. I don't even like no.
Let's mix it up.
But anyways,
let's mix it up.
It's
So,
a whole different thing. Like I'm like looking up lyrics. That's a whole different thing. But yeah, let's change up the scenery real quick, man.
So you asked me to like write down a couple questions, and I texted some friends and
dating questions.
So I think this is a fun one, and it kind of ties into some of the conversations we've already had. It's like, how important are first impressions?
The utmost importance, I think.
Okay, so that's your gut reaction. Utmost importance.
I think so, man. Like, it depends. It also depends. I suppose it depends.
Walk it back.
Because I've heard instances like, so a friend of mine, she went on a first date with this guy, met him at his house. First of all, from Tinder. First of all, that's scary.
Wow,
scary to me.
Would you just give your? I mean, like it's social quarantine right now. Like
but back in before the Rona,
on a Tinder date, would you just give your Addy to
I'd be
somebody?
too scared. Like I'd not have the balls.
Catfish.
I'd never have the balls.
I don't care.
I feel like that's so risky. Like
I don't think I'd care how horny I was. Like I wouldn't just be like if some
people lead with they dick and it works for them.
Yeah, but if somebody was like, "Can I come over? What's your address?" I'd be like, you know, or like maybe if you've had but like the first interaction, someone coming over to my house, no, like not happening.
Yeah, but this motherfucker instinct. Wanted her to meet him at her to meet at his house. So she met him. He had a gun out on like the living room table, and like
I've dated a couple girls like that.
And she was like, "What in the fuck? Like, why do you have a gun out?"
Was it the Glock with the extended clip?
I mean, I don't even know. Probably not. Even if it's not, even if it's a revolver, fuck it.
Tell your story, and then
I'm just saying, like for her, she felt super intimidated. You know what I'm saying? Not an intimate, intimidated. You know what I'm saying? And
it can be both.
Probably not though. Not in this case. But she was like, "Oh yeah, I went out with him a few times after that." Like she remember she was like, "I told him to put the gun away. Like, what the fuck is he doing with it out?"
He was flexing hard.
Flex. Hey, Funk Master Flex.
Dude,
shout outs to the DJ. But like dropping heavy, bro. But like, no need to do it. Like the bad first impression, she still went out with him some more.
When you say bad first impression, though, like she still went out with him. So was he like kind of dangerous and she was into that, or like, you know, like whatever?
Don't know.
That's a funny story. The gun on the living room table. Like
if you had a gun on your living room table with a crack pipe,
no crack pipe, just a bunch of weed.
He decorated the weed around the gun. He made it in a heart.
I mean, no, it's a centerpiece. You know, what are you talking about?
It's decorations.
I showed up to this girl's house one night. It was a girl I work with. I showed up to this girl's house one night, and no joke, like Glock with like a fucking extended mag, just like laying on the coffee table, and like. I was impressed, honestly. I'm like, good for you. Like, you take care of yourself. You can defend your home. You know, like, kind of a baddie. Like, I'm here for it. So I think it's always a bad thing. But I don't know if I'm going to lead with that. Like, if some girl's coming over, like, I'm probably going to put the gun away.
Right.
Just maybe. That's just me, though.
You should not have it out.
Yeah,
you should not have that kind of impression.
No, you have to think that was intentional on his part.
Oh, for sure.
Like, there's no way that he forgot.
Funk Master Flex. That's what I'm saying, bro.
There's no way that he forgot it.
I just forgot my Glock. Well, who the fuck are you expecting?
And let me tell you, that shit was like on a coffee table, like in the middle of like some crystals and like a mirror and shit. Like, she left that out. Like, I don't know if she was trying to threaten me or what, but I'll take those vibes.
I'll take the vibes.
I will.
I'll take the vibes. Yeah, bro. It was his heavy flex, and she said like, oh, she didn't like, but also she went out on multiple dates with this person.
True.
So but I've also heard like, oh, dude was and I think it's just maybe her, because I've heard other stories of like other girls like, oh, went on this date with this person and this was this, and sometimes first impressions aren't everything, and sometimes they are, and I think it just depends on the person.
Yeah,
I really think it depends on the person.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, obviously it depends. You know, life is fucking dynamic. It's organic, but the reason I asked the question is, I think first impressions can kind of span a while. It's like when you meet someone, how you meet them. You know, it's not just like the first time you talk. You know, like
I think it's a lot of things. It's a first impression of how's the person messaging me in the first place. If you meet on an app,
yeah.
Well, how was the first impression on a date? How was the first impression if we have like first impression? You're right. It's a long
First time we have sex.
It's a long thing.
And she gives an awful blowjob, and then you just have to end it right there.
Right.
Like like I'm 30. Like
I'm sorry. Hey, moving on.
Yeah. So, we've had time. Okay.
Right.
Like, for you to figure this out.
You should have been practicing before I got before I met you. Like
you should have been shooting jumpers in the gym. Okay. Like I mean, this is
hard work, dedication, girl.
I think that's there's a sliding scale. It's like the first time you message, and I feel like honestly, if like I'm gonna critique my dating game, like I'm not putting a lot of thought into like how I'm like talking, you know, the first couple messages, because I know I'm really like if we go out to dinner, like if you come over, whatever, like I know I'm good at those things, you know, but like so if we get there, like I'm
if we sex, I know I'm good at these things.
Yeah. If we get there, I'm Gucci. All right. Gucci. But like, no, that initial conversation, you know, like I'm just going to say it's me. Like I've had a couple like different matches in the last couple days. It's like we talk for a little bit and then it's like ghost. And I'm like, okay, I'm just not putting enough effort into being.
And they can tell.
Yeah. And like being interesting or like having conversation. And so, like, I'll take your feedback. So, girl matched me last night. We chatted for just a little bit. Conversation ended. I was the last one who texted. There's some cool things. Like, we went to the same university. Like, we lived in the same city. Like, we've got a lot in common.
Okay.
She also super liked me, which, you know.
Oh, this is Tinder.
Yeah.
Super likable.
Yeah, she also super liked me. And now I'm like, okay, like maybe I didn't put my best foot forward. Maybe she's busy. Blah blah blah.
Ain't nobody busy during the Rona, bro.
That's that's what I'm kind of feeling. You know, that's where I ended up. I'm like, all right, so do I have to like come back with something interesting?
Yes.
Right now? You know, like
yes.
I was still the last one.
And you don't even want to put forth the effort to do it.
I do want to put forth the effort.
Oh, now you want to put forth the effort now that the Rona going on?
Her name's Claire, which I love.
The Rona, Claire, and the Rona.
Yeah, the Claire and the Rona. I'm also lonely.
Right. My pee-pee also needs
right.
loving.
Yeah, I mean, like we're talking like real talk here. So I mean, like you know, as someone who studied the data, my man is just a fucking he is an academic when it comes to the dating apps. So I messaged her last. Do I come back with something interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like something funny or interesting.
Funny or interesting? Okay.
I would say funny. Like, go funny. You're a funny guy. Be funny. Be you. Be you.
I'm not a funny guy.
You're funny.
I have a lot of talent.
You have a really dry sense of humor, and you got to like play that.
Well,
out.
it's dry and fucking dark, and most people don't like.
No, people love dry and dark, but
they just don't.
You have to get past that first impression to get like, oh, you're dry and dark guy. Everybody has dry and dark humor.
I just feel like folks don't understand when I'm like, I know I'm joking and like I'm just saying something for the shock value.
Right.
And they're like, God, that was really hurtful.
And do you know why I know? Because all the girls say this. Sarcasm is a plus on their profiles.
Bullshit.
My second language is sarcasm.
Bullshit.
My first language is sarcasm. I'm like, okay. So apparently girls speak sarcasm.
No, they don't. So I'm like, you're so fucking hideous. You know, and they're like, oh my God, am I? I'm so hurt.
Oh God. But yeah, you come back with something funny.
Okay.
That's it. Like, there's a whole bunch of funniness about the fucking Rona going on, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you can just hit her with something like you staying, you know.
I cried today from social distancing. Have you? You know.
If you put an LOL or a laughy face, then you got to do it right though. Like, that's a hilarious line because you're saying it in person and I hear the context. Nonverbal cues. Also verbal cues.
I also winked at him, and we've been making direct eye contact for like years.
This is the longest again since the last time. That was the longest.
Yeah. I also haven't made direct eye contact with anyone except over Zoom.
And that's always fun too. But yeah, I think if you're funny, you can bounce back.
Oh, so I have to bounce back.
You got to bounce back. She didn't reply. Did she reply to you? Okay, then you got to bounce back. Balls in your court.
God damn. I mean, come on with the facts.
I'm just trying to hit you with that truth.
She did not reply. That is
right.
true.
Whatever you're talking about,
yeah,
she's
whatever
bored of
I
it.
did, I fucking.
She's bored of it.
Oh wow.
I'm just saying.
No, I mean it's true.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to hear you say it.
Yeah,
I mean, most relationships right there.
She's just bored of it.
True.
You're giving her the dick.
I just didn't want to hear you say it.
But yeah, if you hit her with something, and like you have the right mindset, you're like, should I hit her with something interesting? Yeah, interesting is funny. Funny is interesting.
So like, as someone who has spent a lot of time, you've seen the movie Swingers, right?
Oh, I love that movie. The money.
Oh, you're so money, baby.
You're so money, baby.
Okay.
Right now, you don't even know it.
Yeah, right. Okay, so the worst scene in Swingers is when Jon Favreau keeps calling the answering machine.
His fucking ex.
Yeah.
Over.
Well, no, not the ex. It was a girl he just met.
Oh, over and over. The Heather Graham girl, right?
Yes. Yeah. No. He keeps calling the answering machine like over and over, and he like tries to keep explaining himself.
Oh, it wasn't Heather Graham. It was some other girl. That's right.
Because he meets the random girl. It's the first time he gets a number.
Right
after the breakup. And he like keeps calling,
and he's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like, it's just,
and then it cuts off.
Oh, no, it's sorry." And then he calls back. Listen, I'm sorry about the other way, but like, I just want to let you, like, just in case.
And then she
it cuts
finally
off again.
Picks up and was like, "Don't ever talk to me again."
And he's just like,
and it's one of the most awkward scenes in cinema
because it's like 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah,
he's in his fucking wife beater, and he's just like profusely
word vomiting,
killing himself, just
all over,
digging the fucking.
He's
neurotic. It's so neurotic.
He's in China. Like that's how far that hole went.
Yeah, he dug himself. He dug himself to the Rona.
All right, so that's the scene, and then the other scene is like the Vince Vaughn scene where they're like Tim and fucking Pretty Boy, dude who pulls out the gun. Why can't I remember his name?
Oh yeah, that one like.
But it's the scene where they're talking about how long they wait to like text a girl back.
And he's like 3 days,
or like call a girl.
You have to call.
Like,
they didn't text.
Yeah, he's like 3 days. You know, it's like industry standard. You know, like that. Like they have that entire thing.
The whole conversation,
and then they're like, "So how long do you wait?" And they're like, 5. You know, like. Dude, it's psyche. It really is. You can't appear like overeager. You like have to like there's like the the mystique or whatever. So what I'm curious is, one of my friends actually said that we should talk about this. Is like, what about the double text? Like what are your feelings on like the text back? What are your feelings on like on dating apps right now? Like, she didn't text back. Like, so I'm supposed to double down now?
Yeah. So this is my take.
All right. I need that blackjack. Give me a 21.
I'm gonna hit you with some rules of the game that work for me. And these are good standard rules. You have the text. She doesn't reply. You hit her. You have a 24-hour period to hit her with another one. And after that, you have a 48 period to hit her with one last one. There's the 3 texts. There's the one she didn't reply to, the one you hope she replies to, and then your Hail Mary.
Doug Flutie, Boston College. I hope every dude that's listening to the podcast knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Really?
No,
You've never seen it? It's so famous. Doug Flutie, Boston College, throws a Hail Mary, and it's like that grainy ESPN footage of like everybody rushing the field. Bruce, have you seen it? No? God damn. All right.
Nobody knows the fuck you're talking about.
God, you troglodytes, you cavemen. No, it's this like iconic scene of like throw the Hail Mary, band comes rushing on the field.
Oh, okay. Like a Rudy moment type shit.
Exactly. It looks like a Rudy moment.
I gotcha. Okay.
I like that though. I mean 24, 48.
Yeah, you have the one, then you have 24 hours to hit. Then you have, after that, you give it 48 hours.
Hail Mary. If it doesn't work,
it's 3 texts.
Unmatch.
That's it.
Delete that
after
shit.
that, don't even unmatch. Because if you unmatch on any apps, it deducts points, like quote unquote points from your profile.
Back to the data. I need to buy my dude at Tinder a fucking 6-pack and like learn more.
I'm just saying though, that's my rule of thumb. You hit him with the 1.
My rule of thumb, I hit him.
You hit him with the 1. You hit him with the 2. Yeah, my rule of thumb is I hit. My rule of thumb is I fucking rub my thumb in your eye. No, I'm just kidding. But rule of thumb, you hit him with the 1, they don't reply. You hit him with the 2, and then you got the Hail Mary. You got the overhand. Come on, man. Just
the Superman punch.
That's
like
it.
maybe I knock this fucker out.
maybe, and if it don't work,
Back
then,
to combat sports.
then
dating,
that's
dating
it.
is a combat sport.
It's a 1. It's a jab. You hit him with the jab. She didn't reply.
Okay.
So you got the 2. Then you got the special move at the end.
Yeah. Tap X twice.
Yeah. They got the double tap right then and there. So that's
finish her.
That's my rule right there.
Okay. I dig it.
It's 3 texts. It's simple. It's plain. After that, you know that they're not interested. Don't never text back.
Heard.
That's it. It's again. It's easy.
This is something like I'd be curious to know. Like, I mean, obviously you can read articles, blah blah blah, which I refuse to do. But like, I just like want to hear more guys and girls like what's your line in the sand? You know.
Well, I feel like 3 is okay because it's the least creepiest. Right. Like
it's the most amount of like effort you can put in without being creepy.
Right. You're not calling. You're not. Hey, and pick the time that you're going to text too. Like pick a time that you're like probably she's free at this moment, and like be very
3 a.m. Got it.
Perfect. Next question.
Nailed it.
But you've got to be very.
It's 3 a.m. You're drunk in your feelings. Text her.
Right. The whiskey's telling me to text you right now. So you've got to be very strategic with the last one. With the second one, you can just 24 hours. You have 24 hours.
Gut instinct. It's your Hail Mary. All right. You're interested in this girl. Super cute. Seems like, you dig her profile. She hasn't responded to the 24-hour. Now you've got your Hail Mary.
You got the 1.
You've
the
got
2.
your 1 Hail Mary.
Uh-huh.
Gut instinct. What time are you texting?
Either between 12 and 2 or 5 and 7.
12 and 2, 5
like
and 7.
afternoon? 12 and 2?
Okay.
Like lunchtime?
So noon, she's checking her phone. Like maybe she's on her lunch break.
Or 5 and 7.
Or 5 and 7.
Because you're getting
just
off work.
Maybe have a couple
You're
drinks.
getting home. You're at a happy hour.
Ready to unwind.
You're unwinding. I'm not hitting you in the morning.
Okay.
I'm not hitting you anything before
6 a.m.
Not hitting you before 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. because you know what? I don't want you to know that I'm thinking about you when I wake up.
Are we hearing this right now?
I don't want you to know that.
I dig it.
I'm not giving you that power, especially if you're not even texting me back. I don't want you to know that I'm very curious about like why the fuck you're not texting me back. I want you to think you're just like, oh, it's average. Like this is average time people text.
Heard.
I want to come off as least creepy as possible.
12 and 2, 5 and 7.
I think those are very.
I feel
times.
like that's gold. My gut reaction is like that is good advice.
Okay, good. That's just what worked for me, or what I've learned from when I text somebody and they don't text back. Okay, cool. Like it's perfectly fine.
See, this is the danger of not giving a fuck. About like texting or online dating.
It's the moment that you do give a fuck. You're like, how do I give a fuck?
Well, yeah, in social quarantine.
Yes.
It
counts now.
In social distancing.
What you didn't care about now matters.
Now it counts.
This is a scary. You remember the movie Scream, where he's like, when Randy gives all the rules, fucking Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
And he's like, the third movie in a trilogy, all the rules are thrown out the door. We're living in the trilogy right now.
So
all the rules
all the
that you
things
thought are out of the fucking door.
So
bro.
now, I mean, like, previously I didn't give a fuck, and now I'm like, all right. 12,
now you have to give a fuck.
12 to 2, 5 to 7 makes fucking sense.
Now, welcome to my world.
Yeah. Finally, we ended up here. Didn't plan to be here, but we ended up here.
We started from the bottom, now we here.
Yeah, because what am I supposed to do? Like, say hello to a girl on the trail, and she's like, "You got that Rona?" Like,
right.
I mean, that worked. For
and then
me
you just be
previously.
like, "If Rona don't take you out, can I?"
Yeah, right. If we all don't die in 3 weeks, do you want to fuck?
You want to quarantine and chill? Or
Yeah.
Cool?
Yeah, I got an Instagram account to show you that quarantine and chill. Like someone already patented it. And it's
nice.
Like making like sweatshirts and shit. Makes me happy.
I feel like I was one of the first people to write that though. Long, like 2 weeks, like before people were quarantining. I made a meme, and it was great.
Did you find you a corn queen?
Ooh, girl. Ooh, girl. Where my queen at?
Girl, do you want to be my queen?
I like that. That's fresh right there.
Right?
But it goes. Yeah. So just to go back to your point, you have 24 hours to hit her with the flex, and then you have 48 hours to hit her with another one
With a Hail Mary.
Yeah, and I would give it 40. I'd give it 2 days.
Like, if you were to be any animal, what would you be?
I would be a Tiger King. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I still haven't watched Tiger King.
I haven't either.
I
I haven't
need to get
either.
on
Don't
it.
worry about it. But a lot of people have.
Did you bring any questions?
Yeah. So check the peep game, Holmes. Peep games. Some of these from Reddit. So this is a good one. Intimidated by partner's sexual history. I think that's a great question.
Ooh. All right, let's. Are you going to ask about that? Did they volunteer that information?
That's the topic of the conversation, but I think it's a great topic. Have you ever been intimidated by a partner's sexual history? Is that important to you?
Like, I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Because if I'm with this is gonna be whatever. Call me a pig. If I'm with a 10, like, let's not act like she hasn't had her fair share of interested fucking dudes. Like, I mean, that's just like par for the course.
Right.
I feel like. I mean, whether or not she actually like had sex with all those guys, like that's different. But if I'm with a beautiful girl, like, I'm just gonna assume that like there have been dudes hitting on her since like she
The dawn of time.
Yeah, since like she hit puberty. Like, I mean,
Have you ever had the assumption made on you that like you sleep with everybody you hang out with?
yeah, definitely. Like 20.
I had this happen to me. This girl I was dating in like September, October, November, and she brought it up like one time, and she was just like, you know, she'd known I'd gone on a lot of first dates. She's like, you know, you have a bachelor podcast, you probably sleep with them all. And I was just like, actually, no, like, I'm a human. Like, I
have feelings.
I've got, and I need to have feelings for somebody if I'm gonna like give them peepees. Like, I need to like feel something. I don't want to like. I'm beyond the point now of like just like fucking for the sake of fucking. It's nice.
You are?
It's nice.
I'm not.
It's nice. Hey, it's nice. You know what? For the most part, that's secondary goal. Secondary goal sometimes plays out more than primary. Depending on how much alcohol you've had. I'll be quite honest. You know what I mean?
Hey,
like,
girl.
Hey girl. Hey girl. Hey. Hey girl. Hey.
Disney Plus and Thrust.
Right. Disney Plus and bust. But
This Russian Imperial Stout is hitting.
it's hitting. It be hitting.
magnificently.
You're welcome. But I had that question. Like, it was kind of not a question. It was just like it was more of an assumption of like I sleep with everybody I go out with, and that's not at all. Like, I'm like,
How do you even approach that answer though? Because like if you're like, no, I don't, well then they're like, why? But then you're like, yeah, I do.
and then they're like, what?
Yeah,
For
you,
real?
You fucking
You a
slut.
man? It's either you're a man whore or you're lame.
Yeah,
That's it.
I just feel like there's like that's like a lose-lose situation.
I had it
90% of the time.
I had to hit him with like, there's some, yes, not all. I don't fill them all.
I feel like that's a sales conversation. You need, as a man, you need to be ready for that conversation.
You have to be.
Like,
girls have to be too.
Like you just have to be ready for that objection.
If somebody's asking you this, that means they have feelings. Guy or gal.
Yeah.
They're being nosy as shit. Yeah. Bruce said it. They are being nosy as shit, but they're being nosy because they start to have these feels like, I'm about to be jealous. I'm starting to be jealous.
What's the play there? Do you deflect? You know, like
You have to be direct.
I
I think you have to be direct.
I feel like maybe you redirect. Be like, do you have sex with everyone you go out with?
You got to hit them with the right mentality.
You know, like I feel like almost the play there is to just turn that back around. If someone's asking you that question, I think you're right. Like they're interested, but I don't know if you can give a right answer to that.
There's definitely a wrong answer you can give.
There's always a wrong answer. There's like 40 wrong answers, unfortunately.
There's a right way to approach it, and I feel like I did approach it the right way. I was kind of like, I very much was like, I'll hit you with this. Like, do you sleep with everybody you've gone out with? No, neither do I. Like, there's some people you feel and some people you don't, and I don't need to sleep with it. Like, just because I have a podcast that talks about dating relationships. Doesn't mean I've slept with everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I understand how that stigma can be a part of me.
Oh, you feel stigmatized?
Mm-hmm. Hey, mm-hmm. But I stigmatted. But I understand how like somebody who knows that you host a podcast that talks about that topic would think that you're the embodiment of like just this like Sex and the City bachelor. And that's not the case, man.
I mean, I'm like, you're right, girl. I'm trying to body, but I mean,
but also I got feels too. I'm a human. I'm a goddamn human.
Yeah, I just feel like there's not a right answer there.
It's very hard. You got to approach
That's
it.
what she said.
Heyo, you got to approach it delicately. You've got to approach it very delicately, and it can be different depending on the person.
Yeah.
I've got a topic here, and I love this. I've got one that I just read on Reddit. I'm 26 male. I met a Hinge date during this lockdown, and now we're living together for the entire lockdown, and it's amazing fun. Let me read this.
Hold on. Oh, wow.
It's a lot to unpack.
Oh, that's a lot.
That's just the topic.
Let's unpack.
This ain't even the paragraph. Oh, let me read the paragraph real quick.
Okay, I'm here for it.
I matched with her last Saturday and started chatting and switched to video call in more than a half an hour. We clicked so well that we ended up talking for 8 hours through the night and slept at 7 a.m. That means they started talking at what?
8 hours.
1 a.m.?
11 o'clock at night.
8 hours. No, yeah. They started talking at 11 o'clock
PM.
at night. We wanted to catch up, but the cab services were down. Travel history was checked from both ends. I don't even know what that means. Spent the whole day talking on video call at 1:30 in the night. I just happened to check the cab services and one showed nearby. I sent the request, it got accepted, and I was on my way. I was so scared and honestly felt my gut shivering for the fear of being stopped by cops. There's somewhere where they're
on
locked
lockdown.
Reached her place. She wasn't a serial killer, thank God, in quotations, and ended up spending the night and the next night at her place. We then moved to my place on Tuesday, and we've been here since. It's so much fun having her around, not to mention the fact we're both like cooking, so all the free time goes to cooking something delicious. Quote, she's better cook, hands down. I guess I'm one of the few ones who's seriously enjoying this quarantine, and I'm hoping that it doesn't end too soon. If you have a quarantine Valentine, I'm hoping you're having as much fun as I am.
A quarantine?
Quarantine? Yeah, quarantine. Update.
Quarantine?
Got a request for an update, so here it is. We had our first fight in the middle of while things were getting hot. For what you asked? Because I pulled her hair, which she likes. She suddenly realized a few of those locks were falling out. Cue mental breakdown and blue balls. Other than that, we cooked white sauce pasta today, smoked up, and got high. First of all, so much to unpack.
Oh my God. Why did we have to end here? Like, why couldn't we have started here? Like,
oh my God.
Okay, so this made me think of a story. Ashley, if you listen to this, take it with a grain of salt. So, met a girl. Also, this was one of my questions. Like, what's the best pickup line anybody's ever used on you?
Uh-huh.
So, I'm sitting at a bar one night. Girl's sitting like 2 seats away from me. We're like having a couple drinks, have some conversation, and I'm waiting on my buddy to show up. And gonna struggle to tell this joke without like giving away like who she is as a person. So her last name is a car manufacturer, and her pickup
GMC.
Her pickup. So
GM.
Let's say GMC. let's say
General Motors. The last name is General Motors.
Yeah, last name is General Motors. And her pickup line to me was, do you know General Motors? I'm like, yeah. She's like, have you ever ridden one? And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I know where we stand, you know? Like, you're immediately inviting me home for sex. Got it.
And you want peepees.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was like the most interesting. And I got really distracted trying to tell that in a PC way and make sure I don't like expose like who she is as a person. So, sorry if that was a little awkward. Where were we?
We were talking about this guy who the quarantine, like they
Oh.
met on Hinge,
So-
and now they're living
Yeah.
together.
So fast forward to like a couple months later, I get snowed in with her. Like St. Louis
Oh, shit.
has this like super crazy ice storm. My car is like locked. This is or like under ice. This is before Uber. So I end up like stuck in her apartment for essentially 3 days, and it was awful. Like I mean, it was just like we were fucking at that point. And so like you show up, you expect to fuck. You wake up the next morning, you're snowed in, and pre-Uber.
like Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
Oh!
Got him. So
Gooch.
at the end of like 3 days, like things were fine. Like she's a nymphomaniac. Like we had all the sex, and I was like finally exhausted, and like I'm with a person I don't know, you know, for like 3 days, and we're stuck in like a 1-bedroom apartment, South St. Louis. Like shit is weird. All right.
Right.
I ended up walking like 2.5 miles in the snow to like get to one of my buddy's house. I'm like, dude, like I got to get out. Like
I need to leave.
I'll come get my car like next week, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully like she doesn't like slash the tires. And I was like, I got to go. She's like, where are you going to go? I'm like,
Don't even worry about it.
don't even worry about it. I got to leave. You know, like I can't be in the same place as you right now. I don't know you. So anyway, I like walked the 2.5 miles to my buddy's place in like 11 inches of snow. That was a
That's
trip.
not the only 11 inches. Am I right?
Got him. No, but like, I honestly think that sounds awful. Like, to be in a house, like have someone living with me that I don't know, and like, other men can maybe say I'm wrong, but my favorite part of like a long-term relationship was not living together.
Right.
Like living together sucks a lot. A majority of the time, like that's when you have your fights. It's like when you're like stuck in close quarters, things are stressful, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't think that sounds great. I'm super happy for him. Like that they're making like Alfredo sauce together.
Right.
You
White
know,
pasta
like,
sauce.
white pasta sauce. Like there's all sorts of jokes to be made there.
I'm trying to make some white pasta sauce.
Good for him, you know, for making the best of a situation. But that does not sound
Sounds like a
great to
bit
me.
too much
Like,
too soon, bro.
I moved in with my ex a year after we started dating, and I'm a firm believer that like you don't know a person until you live with them, and like
We talked about this last time.
yeah, like you don't know somebody until you live with them, and that takes away the fun part of dating for me. Like, you know, getting excited to see them like on a Friday night, like you like both are, like you're getting ready, you know, you're like texting like, okay, I'll see you at 7. Like that's fun.
That's part of it's half of the fun. Like, is the whole like I'm excited to see this person.
Yeah.
And then, but it's different if like you're like I woke up with this person. I don't even like their cereal.
She sleeps weird.
Fuck Special K. I'm
don't
looking
like
for
sleeping-
Wheaties.
Yeah,
like,
no,
you know what
like-
I'm saying? Oh, you're not into Raisin Bran? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You only like Cocoa Puffs? What are you, a little
Oh,
fucking kid?
You don't sing and dance in the morning, you know?
The fuck is wrong with
what
you?
the fuck is wrong with you? Like, no.
What do you
like,
mean you use Old
I want to have
Spice?
that fight 3 years later.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't want to have that fight in the first week.
Right. These motherfuckers are all about it.
And he's like, is he proud of that? They're like, oh, we had our first fight yesterday. I'm like, dude, like, I don't want to have that for 2 years.
I don't want to fight.
None.
I'm not, hey, if I wanted to fight, I'd go be a UFC fighter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
like-
I ain't here to fight.
No,
Motherfucker.
my drunk Russian Imperial fucking like, you know,
It's hitting you.
influenced ass is like, hell no, that's not what I want. I don't want to live with someone a week after
That I
meeting them.
hate.
No,
I'm getting along with, and then all of a sudden, like, it's about like, what do you mean you go to sleep at 11? What is it? What are you talking about? I'm up till like,
Why
1.
are you playing Xbox right now?
Shut the fuck up. It's my
Shut
house.
the fuck up. You know, like, you came to stay with me. If we stayed at your place, then
Mind
you'd be
your
in
business.
charge.
Yeah, mind your business.
What are you going to do? Leave? Get that Rona. Like,
Right. There's Rona outside. You can stay inside, avoid the Rona.
no, seriously. I don't want to have that fight for like,
Never. Like never.
yeah.
So if we never have a fight, I'd be happy.
like,
Can we not have a fight? I don't want to fight with
I
you,
think,
Tyler.
I think we're on the same page. Honestly. I want to know if this dude, like, is this like his first relationship? Is this like new to him?
I don't. So you know what? I don't know if it is or not. What I think though is we're living in a time of Rona, and I think a lot of people are on the mentality of, are you talking with somebody or being with somebody because you don't want to be lonely?
Okay. No,
You
we don't want to be lonely.
Right. No, we don't. But I'm saying, like, is that what this case is? It's two people who are like, we're both lonely. We kind of have some things in common. Let's just ride this out together. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of this.
I can appreciate that. Like, I can appreciate, like...
Can you see where I'm like, it's realistic?
No, it's realistic in the sense of, like, yeah, you want to feel something. Yeah, you want to, like, you met someone cool. They talked for 8 hours, and, like, he went to bed at, like, 7 a.m. Let's get this, like, don't get it twisted. They're having a great time. But I would be curious to know if either of them have actually been in a real relationship before, or if this is like all super novel to them. They're like, oh my god.
He says 26-year-old male, so
yeah, I'm going to say my guess is going to be no.
Yeah,
could
be, but my guess is going to be no too.
Yeah,
I think it has a lot to do with this like scarcity mentality.
Ooh, like the toilet paper.
That's right. Just like that, it's a scarcity mentality.
So he's hoarding TP right now. Like he rather than just buy like. Rather than go on a normal first date and just buy like 1 pack of toilet paper. He bought like 10 packs of toilet paper.
You're treating the girl like she's scarce. Like there's a scarcity in the world, and like the first one that comes to your like on your doorstep, you're like, I need to hoard this.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing. That's just my feeling. That's just my opinion about this.
Also, like for me right now, the only way that I would let a woman in my home.
As if she didn't have the Rona. He's like, one, yeah.
Like, no, like, it would be a girl that I know, like, that I've talked to for a couple months, that, like, I have an idea of, like, who they are, like, we get along, we have the same taste of music, etc. For me personally, I'm not shitting on Mr. 26-year-old male who loves making pasta sauce with this random girl that he met. Do your thing, dude. Happy for you. But at the same time, like, as someone who's like been in a relationship, has lived with someone, has some miles like on the odometer,
got some experience.
I've got some experience. Like, I wouldn't let anybody into my home for an extended period of time that I didn't have like some sort of kind of like, I need to be able to project or like predict what it's going to be like for me personally. For him, just like doing it, I think my dude is like inexperienced. It's like, oh, this is so cute. Like, I've never cooked with a girl before, and like I've never lived with anybody. I'm like, dude, that goes wrong real quick.
Right.
Like, wait until you guys
go
like
south real fast.
Yeah, like you guys put the toilet paper on different ways. Wait, like she gets mad when you leave like coffee cups out. Like, there's like all sorts of shit that
I go south faster than a $5 hooker.
Dude, it's gonna get bad real quick. And then like. Dude, yeah, this is fucking fascinating.
But I'm sure he's not the only one.
You think like I would say that I would think that that's an outlier. Like I would think that
he's not probably the only one.
He's not the only one, but I just think like normal people would be like, I don't want to live with somebody that I don't know. Also, like, I think when you've been with someone for months or years, and then you like move in together, like there's that expectation of like compromise, that expectation of like, okay, like I know this is going to be weird, like we're different people, like we're going to have to make this work, you know, like the relationship line, like we got to make this work,
right?
But that conversation and that mindset normally comes after you've been together a while, where you're like, you know what, like I value you, I think like, you know, I see our lives like moving in the same direction, like we could be together, like you met Abuela, like, you know, she fucking loves you, you know.
Or she hates you.
Or she hates you, in which case, cut her off.
You got to.
But, like, I feel like that stage of the relationship where you're like, okay, like, you have flaws, I have flaws, now we have to learn to work around those. I feel like, for me, like, I want that stage to come later than we just met on Hinge, now we live together.
Right. That makes sense.
Call me old-fashioned.
That is pre-Rona is all old-fashioned. Call me pre-Rona.
To play devil's advocate to my own thought, like maybe get that shit all out in the first place.
Get it out.
All right. So we moved in together.
Now is the perfect time.
We moved in together. We don't work. Okay.
Or we work from home. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean.
Apparently all they're doing is fucking and cooking.
I mean, that could be a great, like, reality show, is folks meet each other,
Yeah,
and then move in like
that's like Love Is Blind. You ever seen the show?
No, but they don't move in together.
Well, if you've seen it, then if you haven't seen it, you've seen it.
I haven't seen
like
it.
So the concept is they meet each other, and then they go and like on a vacation with each other, like second or third date, like it's fucking. And then they move in with each other, and then they meet at the altar, and then they decide if they want to marry each other.
Holy shit!
Yes.
Okay, I did not know what the show was about.
Yes, Love Is Blind. That's exactly like.
I just thought they were like in pods and like talking to each other.
I mean, that's part of it, and until like they like actually meet each other, and then they're like, oh, you want to meet each other? Okay, you're gonna be squished together. You know what I mean? A fucking vacation. Y'all gonna live with each other. You're gonna figure out how to live in spaces. And
oh my god!
And then
I'm gonna go watch this.
You're not gonna figure out if you want to marry the person until you get to the altar.
Wow. What is the most ridiculous fight you've ever had? Like, think like living together, domestic, like stupidity. What's the most ridiculous fight you've ever had?
Most ridiculous fight I've ever had.
Think domestic, living together.
Jesus, domestic fight.
Not physical.
Oh, okay.
Just they were annoyed by something you did that was small. Like it shouldn't have been a fight, but it was.
I'm trying to think, man.
I'll lead because I have an answer.
Go for it.
Okay.
Give me some time to think.
I'll give you some time to process. So, the setting is Washington, D.C. I'm a full-time college student. I'm bartending a bar that I get off work at like 5 in the morning most nights. I'm also interning. So my work week is like 110 hours plus. Also trying to juggle a fucking girlfriend and all the responsibility, blah, blah, blah. She's super OCD. And one morning I wake up early, mind you. I wake up, have coffee with her, and she goes to work. I have class at like 10, let's say. I wake up early after like 3 hours worth of sleep, have coffee with her, go back to bed for like an hour, about to rush to class. You know, I'm going to be busy for the next 20 hours. And I don't put my coffee cup in the dishwasher. I leave it in the sink. One coffee cup in the sink. The rest of the apartment is immaculate. Like you would walk in and not imagine anyone else lived there. I leave a coffee cup in the sink. I get a text as I'm at work that night. She had just got home. And she like lays into me about leaving a fucking coffee cup in the sink. And I wanted to be like, bitch, like my day is kind of stacked. Like put that shit in the dishwasher. Fine.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
But like I apologize. I like ate that shit. And it was just like we had a big fight about a single coffee cup in the sink in an immaculate apartment. And I should have broke up with her right then. Like that's when I should have known it was over. But I wrote it out for 6 years, 5 more years after that.
Yeah, you just played it out. You're like, fuck it.
I played it out for 5 more years. Like, I mean, like I'm not a quitter. Okay.
First of all,
what
I want you to know is, and that's the mentality that I think a lot of people have. They're like, no, I'm not gonna quit this just because this stupid shit happened. And like, you're like, but I didn't even fucking.
No, I should have left. I should have walked.
You should have. That's when you should have walked. Red flag, you leave. You see a red flag?
You know, it wasn't even like the biggest red flag. It was just like with all of the other context. It's like I'm working 2 jobs in addition to taking 18 credit hours at school. If you can't like understand that I'm going to leave a coffee cup maybe once or twice and like that's a big deal to you, fuck off.
Right.
Those are fights you don't have when you don't live with someone.
Yeah.
Like, that's my point.
Yeah, no, the fight that I've definitely had fights like that. You leave something like a fork or like a spoon, and you're like, "Why the fuck do you have all this mess?" And you're like, "Bro, like what? Like, it's one fucking day."
I just spilled beer all over myself.
That's okay. We still love you, Tyler. We still love. But yeah, like I've definitely had those. I've had fights where it's like shit's not in my control. Where like she had a dog. My ex had a dog that would shit its cage all the time. She put him in his cage, and it would shit the cage all the time. And she'd get mad at me and shit the cage. Like, it's not my fault. Like, I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't shit in his cage. Like, it shit the cage. Like, it's not my fault.
26-year-old male, this is what you have to look forward to. It's not all white pasta sauce. Believe me, my dude.
Right. There's a lot of in between.
You're going to learn today.
Uh-huh. So, yeah. That was, I mean, those are silly, there's silly shit.
The coffee cup, the dog shit in cage fight.
But it has nothing to do with me. Like, I didn't do nothing. Like, but apparently.
I love how you just went real Mexican. Like, I did nothing with.
Yeah, that was apparently my fault. So I've had silly fights. I'm trying to think of like other times we fought, and it's like, that's probably my fault.
I'll be honest though, like those are fights you don't have if you don't live together.
Right. No.
You know, like,
not at all.
I think there's like a paradigm shift when you move in with someone, because like now your space is their space. Like you both are going to try to come home and like unwind in the same area. Like I feel like so many problems, like maybe folks shouldn't live together. Right. You know, like, I mean, is that what we're saying?
Is that the simple?
We're going to have a long-term relationship with a woman and be like, you go to your place, I'll go to mine. Like we're going to be monogamous, but I don't have to deal with you.
Mm-hmm. Or I can go home anytime I want.
Yeah. Dude, the going home.
Perfect.
It's amazing.
I need my personal
like
space.
To go on a date with a girl and like, oh my God, that was so great. Like maybe like you have sex, like maybe she stays over, etc. But like when you know that she's going to leave.
Or that you're going to get to go home.
Or you get to go home.
It's like the best.
Yeah, you kick in the door, take your shoes off, you know, you log into your Xbox, like maybe she texts you, maybe you text her, you know, but yeah, maybe my next relationship I'm just gonna try like not living together.
Yeah.
Maybe that solves it.
For a while, hold it off.
For like a decade.
Hold off for the words of Billy Madison.
Until we have kids.
Stay there. Stay for as long as you can. For the love of God. You remember that shit?
Yeah, that's my takeaway. Don't live with a woman.
Or don't do it so soon. Like take your time. Enjoy your personal space while you can. Don't fight over fucking macaroni and cheese and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like don't fight over silly shit.
I mean, the coffee cup fight is stupid. Like who wants to have that fight?
No one.
Nobody.
I don't want to have that fight. I don't have that fight. I've gotten into fights like that where I grab like the wrong coffee K-cups. And like, bro, they didn't have the other ones that you wanted. Oh, it's my fault that like I got the wrong shit. Like,
I hate nothing more than when someone like uses that excuse. Like, I dealt with it so much like bartending. You know, like folks have a bad day. Maybe they had a bad week. You know, and then like their steak comes out medium rather than medium rare. Yes, you asked for medium rare. Yes, I want to go get you a new steak. I want this to be right. I want it to be perfect. But for like the person that they ordered medium and the steak comes out medium rare and then wants to like throw a fucking fit, like that says more about them than it says about you. But like that's one of my least favorite things in life is like when people want to take out like all of their like existential fucking dread and like, you know, how bad their week was. And they're just waiting for like one thing to go wrong so they can like get fucking into it. I'm like, fuck off.
Right. No, yeah, not today, Satan. Not playing those games. Yeah, I don't. Man, I've gotten into silly fights just for silly stuff and wrong cider, wrong beer, wrong alcohol, wrong cereal, wrong something, and you try to like do your best, and some people just they want what they want, and like they're looking to blame you for just something. You're walking on thin ice. I don't like that feeling. I just don't like that feeling at all.
Long story short, don't get into a relationship. Don't move in together. Solves everything.
Be single forever. Be unfiltered bachelor.
Single. Yeah, I mean, just drink beers with your buddies. Fuck around every once in a while.
One time for the one time.
Yeah,
and that's it. Man, this has been a podcast and a half, my dude.
Yeah,
bro.
Are we capable of talking anything less than 2.5 hours?
Not when we get together. Not when it's us. I mean, somebody else probably couldn't talk this long, but
I will make this request, and I'm going to put it on air. Like, we need to lead with what we ended with. Like, I feel like the last 15, 20 minutes of conversation have been like the most fun, for sure.
Yeah, we've got a lot of depth. Hey, it's like the Mariana Trench, right?
Mariana's Trench. It was like foreplay, though. We had to build up to it. You know, like I had to take you out to dinner. Like we had to have
I'm not an easy date.
No, I mean, we know this. We know this.
Yeah, so it was fun. This is great, Tyler.
Always.
But where can people follow you, man? if they want to have these conversations.
Yeah, let's pull up the old Instagrams here. So it's T_Braswell. That's BRASSWELL. Shoot me a follow, say hello, be like, hey, what's up? You know, you fucking asshole. Do you want to move in together? You know, say what you want.
Right. Say it with your chest.
Say it with you.
Yeah, man. Follow Tyler. Everybody go follow my man T Braswell on the Instagrammies. You can follow me, Money Blake Weather, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. You can follow Unfiltered Bachelor, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, your favorite podcast app, everywhere you're looking for us. That's where we are. You can follow us Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Tyler, thank you for coming on again, bro.
Dude, it was fucking amazing.
This fucking shit. Throughout the quarantine shit.
This is free therapy.
I'm telling people, yes. Like, it's literally what this is. You feel better? I feel better. I didn't even know I was going to feel better, but I feel
great. Just being able to like get it off my chest of like, you know, the stupid things about like living together with another human. Like I'm here for it.
All about it. So
now we're going to smoke some cigars.
And then we're going to smoke some cigaros and listen to some great music, and we're going to keep talking and be bestest of friends. Everybody follow the show. I hope you enjoy this. Whatever time you're listening to this, whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, I hope you're staying safe and corona free. And until the next time, we'll see you.
Gucci.
Peace.